Dope. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the George.Daniel podcast. I am your host, George.Daniel. And before we introduce our lovely guest for the day, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Liquid Death. They are the ones keeping us hydrated, keeping us cool, keeping us focused. You can find them at www.liquiddeath.com or your local convenience store, Safeway, Target, Walmart, all that jazz. And once again, Matt, so how are we doing?
Chilling, bro. Chilling.
How was your week?
It was good.
Yeah.
Busy. Working on like good stuff. Same old.
Is your to being a little bitch and
Oh shit! Shots fired. Shots fired.
Okay. But yeah.
I feel it.
All right.
yeah,
She's cool. She's cool.
nah, I can't wait until you guys get like get someone else back there to help you out. But yeah, so to introduce our guests, we have Johnny Michigan, we have Thomas Machina, and we have Vleexxz. Some of you guys may know Johnny Michigan and Thomas Machina as Don's Vanta, which explain to me the name.
Should I start? Okay, cool. So originally the side project was supposed to be Duo Plus. It's not just myself and it's not just Tommy. It's any artists that we've worked with in the past who have not had an opportunity to delve into like a deeper, heavier, harder side of, you know, their artistic expression. So that's kind of like what we wanted to bring to the table, show them that energy and, you know, put that forward and open up the opportunity for more DJs to come in and like try out their hand at really putting down something different than what they played before. And so far the response has been really great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you guys had Fabian at Halcyon, right?
Yeah, it was when we were direct support for Joshua. He actually stood behind us and let us play for additional like 20 minutes. I like stood back right when he got there and I was like, oh shit. Sorry, like it's midnight, like, you want to hop on? He goes, no, you guys have been fucking killing it. Play another 2 rotations through and I'll see where you guys are at. And you know, that was a night.
Yeah. Dude, that's fucking sick. Yeah. I remember being there and fucking okay, so me being a dumb newbie in all this, if the headliner gives you like extra time, right? For them, they already got paid. They're getting paid for however long they get. So obviously they're just like, yeah, go for it. Keep playing, you know, like I'm still getting a check. But at the same time, they're also, unlike someone like a Gordo, they're actually allowing you to like, you know, to like do your thing, you know, which is fucking awesome. And yeah, so kind of before we get into the group and everything else, Alex, how you are a photographer and an artist, so like kind of walk me through the beginning process of you joining the scene.
I guess I started getting involved in like in the nightlife and the music industry by, I was just like, I saw all my friends going to the events and I saw my one of my good friends, Martin. He's a fellow shooter as well. He shoots.
Shout out, que lindo.
Yeah, exactly. He was basically going to events for free. So I was watching it on Instagram. He would go to EDC for free and stuff like that. So I was like, how do I be like him? Mm-hmm. You know, obviously, you know, you don't want to be like anybody else. You want to pave your own path. So,
right.
I just researched, you know, how to do photography. I've never really been good at drawing, you know, writing, anything like that. I've always been good with the computer. So YouTube University,
shout out,
you know, about cameras and stuff. So
got me through college.
Bought a camera and just started cold emailing openers to try and get into these shows. And then my first big break was shooting for this gentleman named Sean at one of the Chris Lake block parties 3 years ago. I want to say 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out he was the old GM for 1015. So anytime that he would, like, you know, I would ask him like, hey, you know, can I come through and shoot? He would say, yeah. So like he basically helped me build my portfolio at that club. Obviously I was doing it for free. So just learning along the way. and just building up my portfolio. And then eventually got into, hey, I want to DJ now. So how do I do this?
Right.
So again, YouTube, how to play, how to mix, right? I've always been a fan of EDM music, house music. I grew up on like, Stevie Aoki. Speaking of Gordo Carnage when he was doing his old stuff.
Right.
I think my favorite artist back then was GTA. So just started practicing, and I eventually bought a little DDJ 400, little entry level controller.
Right.
And then just practiced, YouTube to MP3, ripping songs, just putting them in record box and just playing them, practicing, and just going from there. So now I've had the opportunity to open for Odd Mob this past year in November, so that was pretty cool.
That's huge.
I make a lot of mixes. That's kind of like all I listen to. Always discovering new house music on Spotify or wherever I can, and then just like these two, kind of dove a little bit deeper into the darker side. So have another alias playing techno as well.
Okay.
So again, that's kind of like a rough rough idea of like how I got started. So it was cool. Like I like to be, I get to be creative. I get to be, I guess, creative in that aspect. So that's how I kind of got into this whole scene. And luckily, performing my art, people like it, and people have saw, what I'm capable of. I've been to festivals, been to shows all around the Bay Area. One of my bucket list items last year was to shoot EDC. I got to go to EDC for free.
That's crazy.
That's
that,
huge.
Yeah, that
Big
was
ups,
big
big ups.
bucket list for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Was that your first time at EDC?
that was also that was actually my
That is
first
so
time.
fucking tight.
Yeah.
I forgot who
Here
I
we
was
going
talking to.
back.
I forgot who I was talking to, and I was just like their first time at a club in LA, and it might have been like an exchange or like the Avalon or something like that. But their first time was them playing that, So I was just like, in my head, me personally, I'll like, if that happens to me, like I'll start walking different. Like I'd start, like it'd get to my head for sure. And I know that in my own self. I'm not talking about anyone else. But like in my head, I'll be like, dude, like these motherfuckers wanted me before I even, came in here as like a casual fan,
Yeah.
But that's fucking so sick for it to be EDC. You know what I mean? That's like our Tomorrowland.
Yeah, literally.
So like that's fucking huge, and that's so tight.
Got the artist shuttle, got the artist hotel, Resorts World.
Yeah.
It was hella windy when I went though, so I stayed in my room the entire time.
No Ubercopter then, right?
No Ubercopter. Unfortunately, all of my artists took had to take the shuttle. But that's cool. Like you could say you want to go. You're shooting an opener. You want to come back, nap. You can literally take the shuttle back at like 3 a.m. and then keep it going.
Nice.
Nice. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I was there first time going. I didn't.
This was 20
last year, 2022.
okay.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that was an experience for sure.
how long have it how long has it been since you like first touched the camera and then first like hopped like on an actual like decks like while performing? You have an hour, blah blah blah.
4 years.
Cool.
Yeah, November. Yeah, because I bought my camera, the camera that I have now in like January, so around this time actually. But I played in November? Odd Mob was November.
Was it November?
Yeah,
I think
November.
so.
That sounds
After
right.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Black Friday. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, a little bit 4 years. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So don't get me wrong, I was nervous. I was nervous.
I had to like physically pull him off the decks. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
Alex, step away from the decks right now.
Go outside.
Yeah.
Go outside.
Take a breather.
Take a breather. Go take a piss. Decks are going to be right here when they come back. There's such thing as over practicing.
Yeah.
And get into your head.
Me.
You over practice. You like
Yeah.
go over your set one time, maybe 2 times, and then don't touch it until you are performing.
Yeah.
And then you have like fresh perspective on things. But if you keep on going it over and over in your head,
Yeah, that was I talked about it maybe like 2 episodes ago where at 10:15 like I over prepared where it was like I thought I was like, oh, I know like how I want to start and how I want to finish and blah 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 and like this song into this song, and then next thing I got there and like I forgot the first half, and then I was like, well, now I'm just gonna just have to write it, but yeah, it's definitely like one of those like you have to learn these things. Like someone can tell you these things and like you'll be like, oh, okay, like noted, like I'll take your word and blah blah blah. But then once you're there and like lights are on you, fucking people have their phones out and shit. It's a different fucking experience, you know?
Right.
From being in your room, being like, oh yeah, I can fucking nail this, like easy, you know? It's just you staring at a wall usually, you know? But yeah, that's fucking sick. Going from EDC to opening up for Odd Mob, and that was at 10:15.
No, it was at Halcyon.
At Halcyon.
Yeah.
Halcyon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Halcyon.
cool.
I had the pleasure of fucking making sure my boy got
Hell
got
yeah.
those right. Yeah.
So like now speaking of Halcyon, with you, Thomas, you like explain to me your journey a little bit, kind of how you started, and then to the point where like now you're the GM of a club, of one of the biggest clubs in the Bay Area, aka one of the biggest clubs in the world, you know? So like how does that like just talk to me about like the evolution of that and how you got to where you are now.
Well, okay. So, I mean, I've loved electronic music since I was, you know, a kid and whatnot. I mean, I've like went to the last year that EDC was in LA, you know, friend's dad snuck us in, you know, love that guy.
Right.
And went to EDC the first year that it was in Vegas, and I haven't really touched it, like electronic music, like throughout my years of college. Yeah, you know, we had, you know, artists come through because, you know, it was Davis and whatnot. But like I started DJing literally the week the pandemic started.
Okay.
I had for like a year and a half, my friends have tried to convince me to learn how to DJ. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I don't have the, you know, I don't have the personality for that, blah, blah.
Right.
And then finally, you know, partied my butt off at fucking Crossed. Patrick Topping boat party was like the last party before world shut down.
Yeah,
right?
this is like March 20 something, right?
March 2020.
Yeah.
Remember it very
What a
clearly because Patrick Topping gave me a hug, and we were there to give him a hug at the very end. And he like looked at us and he was like, oh, you know, he was like, happy birthday. Like, you know, I'll see you next time. And then lo and behold, next time was like 2 years later.
Yeah.
You know, so I literally started DJing the week that we got back. Right. And I was like super, super pumped for Camel Fat because that was
Right.
the week of. And midweek, oh, by the way, pandemic, sorry, everything's canceled.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I learned on a DJM 300 and two CDJ 400s.
Okay.
Right. So it was like no visualization whatsoever. My buddy Justin let me borrow his setup. And I mean, that's how I, you know, learn things by ear. And it's probably made it a lot easier for me. Like whenever, you know, things don't visually match up and whatnot, like trust your ear. Right. So from then on, like March 2020 to now, right, like I threw myself headfirst into it, right? Like, oh, you know, I go out 10 hours a weekend, right? I'm gonna put all that time into DJing,
Right.
practicing, learning how to mix, and then finding out that, hey, you know, once you kind of learn how to do the basics correctly, right? It's all about song selection, right? And then you can devote maybe a little less time into purely practicing and more time into looking for your tracks, right? And like developing your style and whatnot. But I've like kind of kept things like open. And, you know, it was right around this time where Johnny and I started, I'm like, hey, maybe we should collaborate on live streams. Maybe we should look ahead and see if we want to throw our own events when the world eventually opens up again. And, you know, that's what happened. Like, Very Good Beat Club, Johnny graciously accepted me and, you know, family now, right? And we've done that, thrown a bunch of events and fundraising events and played a bunch of shows. I never thought I'd get this far, right? And then serendipitously, like in September, I was like talking with Gina about, hey, you know, I know that you're running the club by yourself now. Like, would you need any help running the club? And she thought about it and gave me my opportunity. And like, you know, here I am.
Damn, that's tight. So kind of speaking on Very Good Beat Club and everything, Johnny, kind of like walk me through your journey as well. And then how you because you were doing very good beat club by yourself. I feel like or at least that's what I saw, anyways. From the like in the very beginning stages, and then obviously now there's a crew. So like kind of walk me through your beginnings as getting in the scene, and just trying to like get your foot in the door, and then to like now where you guys are throwing fundraisers, you guys are doing these things, you guys are playing at these clubs.
Specifically for Very Good Beat Club.
No, with just you. Your journey.
The journey. Well, my moniker, Johnny Michigan or Johnny.mi, as though like .mi is kind of like the radio station. It's the vibe. It's where I'm from. It's what I represent. It's what I put out. Even though I'm from Michigan, I grew up in the Bay. Like this is where my social circles are at. This is where my friend community, which I feel is like my second family, and is always constantly growing, which I feel really blessed for. In regards to how everything started, when I was very, very young, I had a father who was like AC/DC, like all the like original like 80s rock bands. And then I had my mom who was like this little like house club rat type thing.
Cool.
Not to say she was like a straight up club rat, but she was a party girl. She liked to have a good time, and a lot of like the friends and family that are really close with us are always like ready to go dancing and do their thing.
That's sick.
Literally like grew up with a mom who was also like an older sister or like a best friend. Like it was really cool. But she had the most stacked, those big leather bound CD holders that you like flip through with the clear plastic pages, page after page of like shit like Eiffel 65 and like Eclectica, like 90s dance music. That some stuff that people have never probably even heard of. That God, it deserves to be revamped at some point. But I don't have the time to even go research and find out what was in that binder back in the day. So I grew up with a little bit of rock and a little bit of, like, of course, pop stuff at the time. But with the house music and everything, it really stuck. I couldn't stop listening to the oddest mix of CDs. Like there was this orchestra one, which was Yanni live at the Acropolis. He does like that Chariots of Fire. So there's like this like artistic, like I understood real art when I heard it. And then I really loved like the dance music. Like I listened to Eiffel 65 nonstop. I listened to everything, all the other CDs nonstop. There was like this one specifically was like CD with like a green frog on it. And it was like my favorite thing. And I can't figure out what it was. But as soon as I figure out, I'm going to buy that CD or maybe get it on vinyl. I don't know. It was super cool. And that really played really heavily into like how I developed after high school. But once I got into the Bay, going through the end of elementary, middle school, and high school, I actually like started off becoming a drummer. I went into playing in this post-hardcore metal band with a bunch of friends of mine. And then once everything kind of like got situated after high school, people are moving out to their colleges, doing their own thing. It became a little bit less feasible to do the band meetups. So what did we do? We all started becoming fucking DJs. And just like everybody else, we all have our first piece of equipment. Dude, mine was this like little plastic Hercules controller. Didn't even have a fucking sound card.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Didn't have a sound card, so you just had to send it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And they started calling me like Loop Daddy because like I literally had to learn how to like create, the most opportune loops.
Right.
Otherwise, when I played live, like you'd start getting like vocal like mashups and like all the worst possible scenarios for playing, like what was popping back then, dirty electro, like stuff that you'd hear at what was it? Anybody go to Blow Up? Like when that was a thing?
But this was like what, 2017, 18?
Shit, dude. Well, if it was 18 and up, it would have been like 2010. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Because I graduated in 08.
Okay.
Yeah, so like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And
yeah, my dumbass always just assumes that we're all the same age, even though like everyone's like kind of older than me.
you're only as old as you act, man.
Yeah.
It's really just a number. And like literally, I got friends that are like 5 to 10 years younger, 5 to 10 years older. Like, and we're all like.
Well, I was talking to Chris,
Same
and I, like
objective,
every time
right?
I would be like, "Oh, remember when this happened?" He was like, "Yeah, I was 30." Like I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
like, dude, yeah, like. It was a pretty big trip, and it was crazy going through high school, not being able to like really express what I actually was passionate about with like the house music, because there was a really big like hindrance on people who were like into like dance music back then. And, like a lot of like obligatory slurs were used,
Yeah.
like
No, yeah,
against
for sure.
people. Like there was a connotation with like, I don't know, just homosexuality in like the scene or
Yeah.
something like that. You couldn't just like the music and get away with it. So
Exactly.
that kind of like was repressed until everybody kind of got on board with like the dance music train, and it became more of like a staple in nightclubs and like the actual like social circles that I ran in. So the big one that like kind of brought people out, like I said, was Blow Up. Shout out Jeffrey Paradise and Ava Berlin if you guys end up hearing this. Blow Up was the culmination of like underground, like filthy dance music and like the top of the line, like not modeling, but like
Go-go dance.
just you know, dress robe and like that type of thing. It was like almost just like fashion. It was like fashion meets, you know,
Yeah.
filthy dance. It was like a really weird combination, but
Yeah.
you can look up online about the fall of Blow Up because they got so big they couldn't accommodate the amount of people that wanted to be at their events, and
Yeah.
it got out of control, like completely out of control. And eventually we got, you know, the dubstep scene that came out right afterwards, which was the perfect hybridization of like what I grew up with, like dance music and rock, right? Because it
Right.
just had like the heaviness with like the electronic production. And
Turns out I'm now friends with two people that used to throw dubstep shows.
oh yeah, you know Daniel Amani too.
Well, and also like my other boy Johnny, who used to throw Ritual.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
AKA Danny DeLorean.
Well,
Shout out
yeah,
Nebuchadnezzar.
Danny, that man.
Dude, he is such a character. I love that guy to
yeah.
death. I've actually worked with him at multiple jobs, and I'm pretty sure that all those jobs didn't work out for either one of us, but he's a good guy. Like, he looks out for the people that, like, you know, reach out. So that's pretty cool. But going back into like how everything developed, even like after all the, you know, the dance music scene and coming out of all that and, you know, dubstep, and then going back into like the pop culture stuff. I actually owned a series of small businesses, and the main thing was to cater to throwing events, throwing parties, but it eventually kept on getting like siphoned and dialed back to doing privatized event, primarily weddings, corporate events, that type of thing, because that's where the money's at.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the third one, after liquidating the two previous entities, was Very Good Beat Club. And it's actually the first one I've had where it hasn't been officially licensed. And that's actually the next step this year. But yes, we still do those private events. But the main goal with Very Good Beat Club is to be completely inclusive with the community. We do, like you said, the quarterly fundraisers, which are all community forward endeavors. I think across the last 3 to 4 quarterlies, like we've easily brought in $10,000 to put directly back into community organizations
Right.
for
I think
people.
the last one was for Native Americans, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yes,
that was sick, and you guys had like a all women one.
Yeah, that was
her,
the
one-
first
her body, her choice.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout
And
out
then,
to the girls that played that. They fucking crushed it.
And
dude. I
then there
so
was
impressed.
one for the Australian fires also.
Oh, that was like
That was one of the
The
first
first one?
ones.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was when that was a little bit after I had like put Very Good Beat Club in the spotlight for
Right.
being
And that
part
was at
of the
Bricks.
dance community.
Bricks in Oakland, right?
Yeah.
Right,
that was a
Bricks in
while ago.
Oakland. Yeah, Bricks in Oakland. Like, shout out Bricks. Like, that's second family. Like, I'm always looking out for them. So, yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to stop by Bricks 581,
Yeah,
ask for
no,
Stephanie.
it's a dope venue.
Need some
and-
TLC. Need some tender love and care, but they're
For
getting
sure.
it because if you guys
But
know
I kind of
Freddie,
like the griminess a little bit. Like
Yeah,
the
no.
griminess is kind of cool.
that's not going to
especially-
change. Like,
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
It's got that like old school like New York brick.
It's, like, gritty,
style,
gritty, yeah.
right. But dude, they used to have like a super beef sound system, and it's really unfortunate because they didn't have someone like an AV tech like Fabian to come in and like take care of it. They kind of just like let people plug and play,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, they like kept on having the most expensive stuff like keep blowing out. On them.
Right.
So they're on a rebuild process, and a lot of times because you know we own. Like a $20,000 like QSC sound system at Very Good Beat Club. We're always bringing that in to help out with other people's
Right.
parties, and
That's
we've
it.
done the all female like Does It Bang, a couple other Bay Area collectives. I've helped out with one of the Burning Man fundraisers. I think it was Heavy Petting Zoo.
Was it Heavy Petting
And they
Zoo?
brought in like Sid Grist too to like headline.
Oh, okay.
So like
Damn.
we do the support. We like cover everybody wherever we can, and just keep pushing forward.
That's cool. Okay, so kind of like with your guys' like artist entity, right? You guys are all individual artists, but it like everything, you need a crew. Like you need someone else at least to bounce ideas with. And like it seems like each one of you guys have not just each other but other people, right? And like how, like, can you describe how important it is to like, it's not like necessarily always what you know, but like who you know.
Absolutely.
In order to like kind of get the ball rolling, you know. But with you, you have a cool like story, being that you started off doing photography and then now now you also do DJing. So like kind of walk me through the beginning process of like trying to get into being a photographer and then like having kind of someone nudge you and be like, hey, do this music shit too.
Oh man. I think that, okay, well, there's not really a good way to explain it, you know? So how I think of it is like I envision something, right? So say I just want to like take pictures a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do it that way. And if they, you know, I'm going to go with what I feel during that time. So say like Thomas is playing like a heavy techno set, right? At Halcyon or whatever, like minimal lights, you know, just flashing, whatever. So the pictures are going to come out dark, gritty. Like I listen to the music that he plays, right? And then say somebody else plays like a happy set, like tech house set, you know, like not Fisher, but you know what I'm talking, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
We don't play Fisher on
Yeah.
Hey,
but like, you know, it's happy, it's uplifting, it's bright.
Right.
So then the pictures are going to come out colorful, very bright. Like I listen to the music as it goes. And this doesn't just apply to like, you know, one place. It applies to everybody that books me or anywhere that I go that they need me to take pictures. Right. And plus like the venue in itself. So I also take that into consideration. So like, you know, how Martin does audio, you know, gritty, dark. You know, Halcyon kind of has that same vibe. 10:15, everybody goes there. It's a party, right? So you want to see everybody. You want to see the crowd. You want to see the people reactions. When I do festivals, I think when I did day to night, I also brought my drone. So I wanted a lot of drone shots of the people. I also wanted a lot of crowd shots. Like when I did EDC as well, the crowd. The crowd is one thing that amazed me. And then so made sure I got the DJ in the crowd or a DJ with the crowd. I'm just getting all those reactions, but I'm also like letting the music like guide me, like, okay, well, they're playing it like this. This is how my pictures want to come out.
So, okay, I'm dumb when it comes to like photography and that side and that aspect and things. So like when you say like, oh, I take in consideration, is this like during, like while you're taking photos, or is this like how you edit them?
During.
Oh, okay.
During, yeah.
Okay.
Because angles,
that's cool.
You know,
yeah,
angles. Yeah. You know, oh, I want it from this side. Oh, let me get you know, these two, like these people in the foreground, and then the DJ, you know, they're blurred out, but then the DJ in the background, and then your main line of sight when you look at the picture is going to be on the DJ. You know, that type of vibe as well. Right. And then, I mean, transitioning to, you know, me wanting to play music and the DJ, I think it's more the fact that all my friends are DJs. You know, even like my good
are DJs.
You know, my good friend Martin. You know, like he is a very, very talented photographer.
Yeah, I was just with him at the after hours. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks for the invite, Martin. You know, he also makes music and DJs on the side too. So he has some unreleased tracks that I hear, and then he would talk to me about his creative process, and I was like, well, you know, like I don't think. I mean, I need to learn how to produce first and foremost. But for right now, like playing, I guess what I would be considered an open format DJ.
Okay.
So I don't know. I just go with the flow. So like for my first show, for example, like when I opened for Ahmad, I was so scared. I didn't even know what to play. Yeah. Right. And
that was your first show?
First ever like show. Like, yeah, I've DJ'd with my boys like before.
That's insane.
On their thing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like just for people like trying to get into the scene, that is unheard of. So don't think that that's going to be your fucking journey. Cause that's fucking hard. But it also came from you knowing people who were already doing it.
It's not
you know?
what you know, it's kind of who you know.
Yeah,
right?
Who you know. Yeah.
So, you know, I think that how did that initiate?
Jazzy,
Jazzy. Shout out Jazzy UK.
Jazzy
He, good friend of mine. He mentioned to email Gina and just to introduce yourself. I think after that email, like a week later, I showed face. So I went to the club. I introduced myself. I grabbed, Gina's running around, busy woman, all over the place. So I, introduced myself. Hi, I'm Alex. I emailed you about potentially opening. She didn't get back to me until a month later.
Damn.
Yeah, she
Sounds
does
about right.
that.
That's
She does
standard.
that.
Yeah.
She's a busy woman.
A month later.
Yeah.
That's standard.
And then I was just like, okay, cool. And then she gave me this whole list of people that she had booked for winter. And then she's like, oh, give me your top 5. So I gave her my top 5. Silent for the next 3 weeks.
Also
I didn't,
standard.
and this was like when I said hi to her, this was September.
Right.
I didn't get an email back saying odd mob ? This date until beginning of October.
Right. And that show was in November.
Yeah, that show
End of
was
November. Yeah.
Right.
That show was in November, and then I was like, "Oh heck yeah, like sure, like let's do it." And then, so that happened, and then so she confirmed me for that. That was cool. I didn't get the album, not the album work, but the poster, the flyer.
Yeah, like the
Flyers.
assets, right?
Another week later, posted it on Instagram. Instagram went crazy. Like, oh my god, he's actually doing it.
Right.
And then obviously during that time from announcement to actually playing, I was just asking my friends like, "Yo, what do I play? What do I play?" I'm
Yeah. It was like, well, not odd mob.
yeah, and to play left to right the entire time.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, I mean,
When Odd Mob dropped left to right, the place went. Alcyon went fucking nuts,
Dude.
Like Luke Andy, Luke Andy popped in before the show. He was like, "Hey, Harry, like."
Because he was playing at Monarch, right?
He was playing at Audio.
Audio,
next
Audio,
door.
yeah.
Next door.
So the
Yeah.
crazy motherfucker fucking drove up from LA to San Francisco to play that hour to see Odd Mob play, drop left to right,
Drive back.
hug everyone at Halcyon, and then leave and drive back down to LA.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
Savage.
that like a lot of people don't realize that a lot of this is like showing face and being there, like no one's gonna like hit you up if you're not there, and no one like you don't exist, like you can be the greatest fucking online DJ, photographer, whatever the fuck, but if you're not there shaking hands and making sure that people know you and you're a tangible human, like no one gives a fuck. And like, yeah, I saw like 96 Vibe and Dem 2 at Halcyon for
Gene Ferris.
Gene Ferris.
They popped by after their show. He was
I was literally taking pictures for
Yeah.
him,
So like, and then they literally hopped on a plane to go down to LA that same night. And yeah, like that is just showing that you give a fuck, and like, yeah, I'm like, I took a little hiatus, 6 months to try to get my mentals right and everything and trying to like get my ducks in a row. But like now that we're like, my New Year's resolution was to like just show face, and like no matter if it's a Meraki event or if none of my homies are playing, I just go, like just go hang out. It's still a party, you're still at the club. It's still a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. And then like with you guys started off as DJs, and then now from like it's the progression is starting as a DJ, then producing. So producing wise, where are you guys at now?
so I released a track. I started learning how to produce like last year right around this time, and I released my first track in June. And then I have another collaboration with Scott Brio coming out. We're doing a remake of a track that came out in '97 that no one has ever done a remix, nothing.
Yeah.
Since
That's it.
'97.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, that's
we're
you
gonna
just
release
digging
that.
through the crates,
Oh yeah, no, it was me listening to a bunch of Awakening sets, and then on one of like MLA Lens, like closing out last track, I heard it and I was like, nah, what is this one? I need this.
Damn.
Shazammed it, and I was like, looked at all the history, and I was like, no one's touched this for 25 years. Let's do something. It's about that time we can like recreate with like modern instruments and modern technology and call it a remake.
Yeah.
If we do enough different with it, so that's not the same track. Right. So it is the same track, but it's not the same elements of a track.
Right.
So, doing that, but like trying to find the time now to do that along with the 50 million other things that I've decided to put my hands into, and realizing that, oh shit, maybe I overextended myself.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to admit that.
No, I mean, that's kind of the thing with me right now, is just like, I'm doing a lot, like not even just like in the scene. Like, I have 2 jobs, I have family, I have girlfriend, I have friends that I need to like, maintain those relationships, and like all that stuff. And it's hard. It's so hard. You only have so many hours in the day. There's only so many days in the week, and yeah, it's super difficult to try to like say like, oh, I want to be good at this one thing, but you're also trying to be great at like 4 other things.
And self-care.
Yeah,
like,
just like
where does that fucking fit
toss
in,
your
right?
mental health like in a trash can, put it in a trash can, just kind of like let it ferment somewhere,
Right.
and just like dive headfirst into making yourself so busy that you don't even have time to. That's what I've been doing.
Right.
Do not
Basically,
recommend that. Do
Yeah.
not recommend that. Do
Yeah,
not
yeah.
recommend that. But I've like doing my 9 to 5, doing Halcyon, still DJing, throwing our own events, showing face at events, trying to find time to produce, and then, having the extracurricular, like carving out any semblance of time to do stuff like this.
Right,
So it's
right.
like, I've kind of like put my mental health in the fucking
Back
Yeah.
burner.
in the back
Yeah.
burner.
Really far back burner.
Yeah, we just had a meeting with Meraki today. Like, I got off of work at 6:30, had the meeting at 6:35, was on a call for 40-ish minutes, and fucking just to be like, all right, what are we doing, and like, how are we gonna do it? And like, I just very blatantly was just like, I am gonna put my body through hell for 6 months to try and get this shit really popping. And then from there, hopefully I did enough work to where like I can kind of like
Coast.
Yeah. And like I can start delegating a little bit. But as of right now, you just you have to be hands on, like no one's going to do the job the way that you can, or you envision, or the way you want, unless you do it. And then you can kind of teach someone. But like with you, Johnny, you now have a new spot with your girl, and all that jazz, and that's fucking sick. No roommates, so fucking difficult in the Bay Area, so fucking difficult. So like, kind of
Right.
walk me through the like, I mean, just like the mental aspect of being like, I think I'm ready to just kind of be on my own, like through and through.
Well, first off, like with being in a single relationship for as long as I've been, it's been a blessing and a challenge. And we are going on I'm pretty sure it's 9 years, but I think it's 10. She
Yeah.
keeps saying 9. I'm saying 10.
Yeah.
I like rounding up, but maybe that's just me at fault.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first year I was living on my own. I've always been like, solo wolf, like stray away from the family, do my own thing, super headstrong. And then the second year onward, it was a lot of like roommates. First, it started off with 2 roommates, some of her friends, and then it became 4 roommates. And then pretty soon I became fucking house dad for this like all Phil-Am, like female forward household for the students that are going to.
That was
Dude,
a fun house.
You're gonna just come in and like reap all the benefits.
it was lightweight toxic how many people in our community knew what the White House was. Like literally Fiesta Casa, like the house on Hillcrest, which I mean, there's other people that have lived on that block. Chocolate Sushi was with me for a minute. Was it Bricker lived down the street from us at the end right before I moved out of there, and the whole time it's always been roommates, and they've always, and first they were like the same age as us, and then they became 3 years younger, and then they were 5 years younger. I'm like, dude, it's getting to the point where like
You're babysitting.
I'm babysitting. Yeah, I'm babysitting. And they're having these college parties, and I'm like, dude, there's all these like 18 and 19-year-olds that are blacking out and throwing up all over my house. I'm like,
That's sketch.
it's
That's
sketch, right?
It's
It's
sketch.
And like, it's always like, hey man, do you mind if you DJ at our party? And I'm like, dude, if I fucking hear Pilo one more time, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god! I remember the
respect
first
all
time
art.
I went
Like-
to the house on Hillcrest.
Yeah.
You guys were DJing, and then Mary just comes up to me. Hey Tommy, do you grill, right? I'm like, all right, I'll make food for everyone. How drunk is everyone? I'm like, we started drinking 3 hours ago. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
I think that was the party where I made the 5-gallon AMF I think.
Yeah.
Why?
So just to see if I could, I got a lot of responses on social media about that. Like I documented the whole thing of going to Costco and picking up like all the bottles of like blue curacao and all the clear alcohols, triple sec, the whole 9 yards. And then we
The
had
amount
like
of people that blacked out at that party.
Yeah,
That
it's
was-
an
yeah.
AMF.
Yeah.
Like fuck a 5-gallon AMF.
5-gallon AMF. Yeah, I think it took us like 3 days to technically kill that
Yeah,
thing.
so yeah, I had
That's healthy.
I
That's
probably
healthy,
had
I
like
think.
2 or 3
Had to
of
pace
them,
myself.
and then I was just like, nah, this is it. I can't do it. I can't
Dude,
do it
no,
anymore.
I mean I can't even do jungle juice, you know? Like fuck
God.
that. I'm strictly tequila soda, vodka soda, that's it. You know,
Well,
just
that's what
'cause-
I'm doing now to
Yeah.
like recover from
Tequila
probably
and
just that one
Fernet,
experience.
that's it.
Yeah,
all I do.
like
But-
that's it.
Yeah, no, the whole roommate thing, it was a great experience the whole way across. Like we developed really great relationships, and not just like, you know, socially and emotionally, but like we kind of like set down her ties and like my involvement in the Filipino American community and like supporting, you know, like the Filipino Academic Collegiate Endeavor, PACE, over at SF State, which is like one of their leading like cultural outreach programs that, you know, Filipino American, especially, you know, like the kids, they're super family tight. So a lot of the families are used to like growing up together, you know, the parents, the grandparents, and the kids and the grandkids, like they're all growing up together. And then
Right.
these young adults are going out to school and being on their own for the first time. So like they need this community to look out for one another, create these social circles. And
Right.
our house was like the communication point for saying, this is a safe space, like do your thing. And
That's
also,
so sick.
like,
That's
yeah,
sick because I mean,
so-
even like Filipinos and like Mexicans are very, very similar. You know, not only did we get conquered by the same fucking person, you know, or country, but like that, like the whole like there being 3 generations in a household thing is super prevalent in both communities. And like yeah, like even like when I moved out, I was 19, and it was rough, but also like the only thing that I had going was, oh, my mom immigrated here by herself. So like I can't bitch.
Right.
I've been here.
Mary's family was the same way.
Yeah,
She's-
so-
is that first generation? When
Zero
Right.
generation? If
No,
you're-
well,
First generation
if you were
American.
born here.
Yeah.
if you're born here, you're first
Yeah,
gen.
yeah.
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 So
Zero
actually, her oldest
Yeah.
sister came over from the Philippines with the mom and dad. So
Yeah. Well,
oh,
yeah.
wait.
Likewise, I'm a DACA. I'm a
Yes.
DACA like kid. So I'm not even an American, quote unquote. But yeah, it's weird, and especially like kind of in this area where it's so multicultural and like so diverse, but like it's a blessing and a curse because since there's so much going on, you don't know where you fit in. And it's kind of hard for everyone, not just saying like if you're brown, you're black, you know, regardless. Cause like I know white kids who went to college and they're like, dude, all my roommates are brown. Like, I don't know how to like communicate with them. Well, you know, like they never watched Seinfeld, you know, type shit. So it's just like weird shit like that.
so
where,
thankful I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I may be the token white dude like in the group, but I've got like all the fucking homies that are just like, I'm pretty sure you're more Filipino than we are, bro. Like, you
Yeah.
can actually like make sinigang, like all the
Yeah.
fucking foods. Like, you can probably speak better Tagalog than I can, or at least understand it. And yeah, no, like I couldn't be more thankful for, you know, the friends I grew up with in the community that we developed through that whole thing.
That's
But
sick.
the whole like roommate situation, at the very tail end of it, when we moved from that party house further into Daly City to kind of like move in with more of the professional crowd and get back some of our old roommates who were like out of college. They have like full-time jobs working for places like Genentech or like whatever the
Right.
situation was. That slowly came to an end because that was quarantine. That was literally quarantine. So people were like, we're stuck together. We got to stay here, stick it out. We got really lucky with like a really amazing house. That's where we started our live stream series, which was super successful. Got partnership within 3 months. Like,
Right.
yeah, it was really crazy. And I think about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through it, there was like a situation that happened with my family where my sibling, who had just got engaged and or married, I don't know what the timeline was, but my mom was living. They were just the two of them, my little brother and my mom. My youngest brother enrolled in the military, so my mom was just like, I'm gonna go buy a house, and like didn't really like inform anybody. And then she like dipped to the house and left the rest of the lease to like my younger brother, and he's just like, oh shit, how are we gonna fucking take care of this? And I'm like, dude, you're my family, I'm gonna take care of you. So me and Mary were like, okay, we're gonna finish off our lease, and then we'll have like a 1 month layover. Sure, we may pay 2 rents, but we got you. And we moved in with them. So that was the final set of roommates, was my little brother and his new wife. And we finished off the lease. We extended it, I think maybe once or twice to kind of like help people get their finances back in order. And then we got the new house. And it's just like a breath of fresh air, dude.
That's cool. I like the fact that it's kind of like serendipitous, full circle type deal, where it's just like, all right, well, like, it's a full house family growing up, and then now I'm living on my own, but I still found this family community to live with, and then now full circle moving back in with your family to be like, all right, we're a unit. This is us. Like,
right, exactly.
Let's fucking figure our shit
always
out.
Was, always gonna be.
Right.
So you got to look out for your own. And it doesn't just matter, you know, who your friends are, you know, deep seated family
Right.
are. So
that's cool. So I mean, kind of speaking on the COVID aspect of everything, that's when you guys started doing the live streams, like you mentioned, and you guys even started doing like festivals, right? Or you guys tried
That was the one Bay Area Dirty Bird Festival.
The official Bay Area Dirty Bird fan page music festival live stream. Like literally all my friends are DJs. Featurette for like, was it 5 days straight?
It was 5 days. Everyone had like 45 minute to an hour set. It was 5 days. That's how many
That's
DJs.
how they applied and
Dang.
was super successful. And yo, who were the ones that like moderated that? Was it Michael?
Was it
the
Milano?
Was it Milano and the gold? And there was like 3 people
Gold
in
Block?
total.
No, I think it was all the Gold Block folks.
Dude,
and Anya.
And Anya, yeah.
And
dude.
Drew.
And Drew.
Yeah.
And Drew, yeah. So Anya, Drew, and Michael, I think. And like, they fucking handle that shit like beasts. Like, because it was nearly 24 hours a day for 5 days straight, they were like taking shifts running this site called StreamYard, where you're basically doing remote, like, feed transmission. So you wouldn't be putting your stream directly out to Twitch. You'd be putting it out to StreamYard, and then they would control whose audio and video is coming through like a switchboard, and super fluid. Like very little things went wrong. I think they may have had a couple DJs that just didn't have like the upload bit rate that they were expecting. It was a little choppy, but that was like honestly one of the best things that could have happened, because it put a lot of DJs like on the map. Like people just had never like taken the opportunity to listen to them before. And it showed us that even though we're getting stuck in place, we do have the means to still put the artwork out there, still maintain the community ties, and support one another. So COVID was really, honestly, a blessing in disguise for, I feel like, a lot of people, because it created an equal playing field, no matter what size you are. You know, if you're willing to put in the work to put yourself out there, then you were putting yourself out there. Yeah. You know, where even some of the bigger artists, they started doing their own live streams and things like that. Like even Justin Martin, I don't think was super heavy on Twitch, but when he did, all of a sudden I was, you know, like I was watching every single stream on like Tuesday or whatever, Tuesday morning or afternoon. And it was just a cool way to like keep in touch, you know, even like, and support, you know, just you dropping a comment, just being like, oh my God, I love you, you know, and that was it. Like, it was cool. Just hang out through the commercial break, make sure they get that monetization, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, also it was like a lot of like big name DJs who now had all the time in the world to produce, and two, and being like, oh, wait a minute, you guys have seen this side of me. It was like, one of them was like Richie Houghton showed his entire vinyl collection. And then also Carl Cox took the time to show everyone his entire vinyl collection. Right.
He had the whole back wall.
That was the most insane. Like Richie Houghton, he was like, "Oh yeah, this is my garage that I turned into into my vinyl library." And he was like, you know, walking through, and he like looks back and he goes, "Oh, what's that door over there?" I was like, "Why do I have that door?" And he like walks up to it and he opens it and goes, "Oh, this is my white label collection." And he looks in there and he goes, "All right, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you guys right now. Like, I'm gonna go randomly choose one and just see, and then first 500 people that comments, I'm gonna choose one of you guys to send this album.
Yeah,
Dude,
no,
crazy.
it was sick. And then like for you, Alex, like what was your experience during COVID? Because I feel like, I mean, you weren't DJing yet. I mean, you were maybe practicing, but like you weren't. I mean, you weren't gonna be on the live stream at this time. So like for you, like photography is now just kind of stopped. You know, like you can go to a park and, you know, have a nice sesh, but it's not like you're at a club, you know, practicing with dark lights and blah, 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 and this and that. So kind of like walk me through, like, how did you keep the passion, and also how do you like stay creative in that?
So, yeah. So when COVID did hit, everything did stop. I was practicing and learning how to DJ at that time. I'll get to that in a little bit. But as for the photography thing, no events happened for like a while, right? So I honestly would get bored. I would just be at home watching TV and just be like, wow, well, I want to go take pictures downtown. And this was like at the time where COVID was like at its peak, so the streets were empty. Like you could walk down Santa Clara Street, no cars,
right,
the whole entire way. So I would take my camera and just photograph like the desolate downtown, right?
Yeah.
Look like a scene out of like Walking Dead or something. And then I guess what I would do is like I would make some type of videos like of myself, like, you know, playing. I think you know, doing Xbox, you know, playing Xbox, playing Warzone, stuff like that at that time. So just doing all that, trying to be creative in some way, right? Taking my drone out. Just getting some aerial views and stuff like that. So it was hard.
Yeah.
So my camera was on ice for like a couple months. So I didn't really, you know what to do during that time. Of course, I would like any chance that I took, you know, you couldn't even go to the barbershop and get a haircut, right?
Right.
Barbers had to come to you or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So I know like for a couple birthday parties, my friends had, had birthday parties, you know, close friends, you know, come over. So I would take my camera there and I'd take pictures of my friends.
Right.
You know, I would take, we're getting together. I'd just take my camera.
Right.
I would just do something.
Right. I feel like it like you kind of had to go backwards a little bit and be like, oh no, this is first off a hobby, right? Like you got to just remember it's a hobby. Even with like people doing live streams, like you're still just DJing in your room. You know, like it's not like.
Well, I mean, some of those live streams were at some ridiculous places.
For sure.
You
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
most
like,
of us.
Most of us. You know, like I know Halcyon had live streams going, Insomniac had all their live streams going, and like yeah, of course, like the entities that were already entities, like they had the means and the location and whatnot. But like us, like normies, like you know, we had to figure it out. Like you know, we had to really figure it out.
So it's funny you mentioned that. When I first started DJing, I would make these mixes, right? And I didn't know what to call them. And people would be at home DJing, stuff like that. So I made my first mix, and I didn't know what to name it. And I made it in my room. You know, I just had the controller connected to my laptop on my monitor, and I was just like, I uploaded to SoundCloud, and I was just like, bedroom sessions. And that just stuck with me, like bedroom sessions, like just something about that just stuck with me. So I made 10 so far. I just released number 10 last year, end of last year. But I would make these sets and I would just name them bedroom sessions because COVID was there. You know, can't really. I didn't know what to do. And then so my friend Jibby, shout out Jibby, he likes DJing as well. He lives over out there in Hayward. So I would drive up there or he would come down here and we would mix together, right? And I was like, I threw out the idea of like, hey, I have a drone, I have a GoPro, I have a camera, you have a GoPro, let's record something, right? So we would go to these places and do our own quote unquote live streams and just record ourselves mixing, right? And upload it to Instagram, upload it to Twitter, whatever, right? Nobody asked for it, nobody cared. We just wanted to do it because we were bored. We didn't know what to do, right? So that also helped a little bit on how to like, you know, get through the times during that time. And you know, that's just one of the ways that I stayed creative like during that time, because I would take all the footage home and I would like edit it, send him clips, you know, upload it to YouTube or whatever he wanted to do with it, right? And that in itself was like, we had like our own little collective, like me and him, because he kind of did teach me how to DJ as well. You know, he is mad that he was DJing longer than me, but I played Halcyon before he did. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jimmy,
Yeah.
if you ever see this, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you know, he's a really good friend of mine, and during that time, he was a very big supporter of like, dude, you have a camera and you're not using it. Let's go do something, right? And he's like, you like DJing too, so let's go practice somewhere. Let's go to Land's End, or let's go to Santa Cruz. Let's go to Sharkfin Cove, right?
Yeah.
Let's go DJ on top of a roof somewhere, right?
Right.
Let's go do something. And so, you know, that's honestly one of the main ways how I got through COVID. And then during that time, you know, then shows started kind of like easing. They had those outdoor shows, where you still had to be vaccinated and you still had to wear a mask, and you were like in these little pods, like.
Yeah, four people per pod and all that
like,
jazz.
Even like for me, I had to get like 5 wristbands for like, you know, stage access, COVID, flu shot, you know, all this stuff.
Right.
Everybody was still like this just to take pictures again at a live show. So.
Right, and it's weird because you're the person who's probably the furthest away. You know,
Exactly.
You know, like you're not like fucking 2 inches away from the, you know, from anybody. Like, but okay, so like with that, like. With you being like, with everyone being like kind of forced to slow down and everything, like what I love about like y'all is the fact that like you can't keep creatives down. Like creatives are gonna create no matter what. And like that has transferred over to now when the world is opening up. Like people know who the fuck tried and like really tried during that time. So like people are more like willing to like be like, oh, like with you, like you doing live streams and doing everything with Very Good Beat Club probably gave Gina a good like idea of like, okay, well, he can kind of handle it, you know, like even when the world was kind of going down, like he still tried, you know. And then like, so kind of walk me through like you guys walk me through a little bit of like what you guys' plans are now, like for the new year, and like where do you goals that you guys have?
Well, I am looking at least 3/4 of the year completely sober. It's something well deserved. I want to definitely go back to the point I was trying to make with like self-care. Just need to reinvest in like my personal health. I think I have lost more weight in the last 18 months than I have like in any of the other circumstances where I've like been like deathly ill or like anything like that. And coming from like a background where I was, you know, like a personal trainer, a fitness coach, I used to be like in the best shape humanly possible. It's a big difference when you look at it, you know, photo to photo. Production's a big thing. Want to see myself actually like releasing tracks. It's a struggle right now for me, who has like no professional training, to kind of like set these, what I'm trying to create is like base projects to kind of like create more things off of that single item, especially with like my production style. And then with Very Good Beat Club, with Don's Vanta, and, you know, all the other artists in our community, start bringing more people back in and giving people the spotlight that they haven't had a chance to have. There's always more artists coming out, and Very Good Beat Club is ready and willing to bring them like on, give them their shot, and then, you know, hopefully give them that catapult to put them in a better position than they would have been in before.
Yeah.
So and that's always kind of been the goal with it, is just like bring in more community, show more people what they got, and, you know, at the same time have a lot of fun, hopefully get some people, you know, paid, which, if I may say so, San Francisco is not very good about doing for its like supporting artists.
Right.
I think it's like, I don't know the statistics, but off the cuff, I've heard that it's one of the lowest paid like industries for support artists in the nation. You know what I mean? So I want to break that mold. I want to break that mold.
I mean, I personally feel like the only reason why it's like that is because it's such a huge market that these clubs are kind of like, I'm doing you a favor type deal. And like that's, you know, maybe
toxic mentality,
right.
because like without the community artists, there's like, who is it? Someone said like without the opener, there's just Spotify. Was that Avery?
Yeah,
dude.
Without the DJs, there's, you know, they have Spotify. That's it.
Like,
Right.
what are they gonna do? Pay out a headliner to do open to close for every single event moving forward? Like,
Yeah.
we're there literally to support. Like, we are the outreach, we're the artistry, we are the community.
We get the people in the club when it opens.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if it's like not substantial, like if it's, only like 20-30% of capacity, like that's still the difference between the people coming in to see the headliner to an empty room or to a party that's already going.
Right.
Like that's day and night. And like, I think it should be a negotiable option moving forward to like start paying the respect forward that people who have been doing this for as long as, I have like 8 years, or him who's just started, but has, escalated so quickly that he's getting up there with like top tier DJs.
Yeah.
And the people who are going to be there very, very soon as well. Like, we should be recognized for, the dedication, the talent,
Yeah.
the drive. Like,
Yeah, I think the one thing that like it kind of like, once again, I'm a jaded human for sure. So it's just like the thing that like kind of like rubs me the wrong way is when someone thinks that they're doing you a favor, and then you do all this work. You're the one who's doing the promotions. You're the one who's like blah 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 blah. Like as the opening act, like sometimes like these venues don't even put money into their ads. So it's just like, what, like, how are you
We've
gonna,
been there.
Yeah, so it's
We've
just
been there.
like, and like, it's just, it's that whole like, oh, we're above it. Like we'll have someone tomorrow. So it doesn't matter how today does, but it's just like, no, but like today is right now. Today's the moment. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's not just our moment. Every
Yeah.
single person who comes into that door, it's a moment for them.
Right.
It could be an everlasting moment. It could be a memory that they like hold on to. What happens if this experience affects if they're coming back tomorrow?
Exactly.
Like, this is stuff we need to consider.
Right.
Yeah.
But and then like with you, like what are your kind of goals for the year, and like where would you like to be? Because you have your hand in a lot.
I do have my hands in some ridiculous amounts of things. But so we've like worked things out with the Foundry to where, we have a monthly every fourth Thursday.
Shout out.
Right. And then we also have a monthly on the fourth Wednesdays at Phono Bar, where Wednesday at Phono Bar, we have an hour where I'm like open decks, right? People who haven't had the opportunity to come through.
Also,
come through,
Phono Bar
play.
is such like, I like poke fun of it a little bit just because it's Phono Bar and it's a little small or whatever. But like as a DJ, it's such a privilege to play there because of the rotaries. Like, and like when
the best acoustics are in that first bathroom.
like, yes.
If I disappear for an extended amount of time to go to the restroom, it's not because I'm going to the restroom. I am closing the door and I'm sitting in the restroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
But-
what we're doing in the bathroom, is listening to music.
Yeah.
At the Foundry, from 5 to 7, like, we have a 5 to midnight one, where I'm going to have 2 hours. We give 2-hour open decks to whoever, sign up. Mm-hmm. Let me know beforehand, sign up, come through, play. And if we think you did well, it'll be like, we'll put your name in the book to get booked the next time.
Right.
So, given artists who want to take that next step, haven't played out before, to get that opportunity to get the kind of like their legs going, and
Right.
And then I guess for me, production wise, I want to at least make 1 track per quarter and release.
It's a good goal.
That's a yeah.
That's
So
a
I'm
good
just
goal.
like,
That's a good goal.
I'm not going to be super lofty with like double-digit tracks, right? But it's like, I just want to be able to be like consistent with it,
Right.
Right, as well as just making sure that like, Halcyon's getting run well, and I have, it's a privilege for me where I get guaranteed at least one time I get to play at Halcyon a quarter because I am the GM,
Right.
right? And I take that opportunity as it goes. Like, I'm never gonna like take that. I'm not gonna take that for granted. I could say that I'm gonna play once a quarter and then never play again.
Right.
Right. So like, I want to be able to play at Halcyon like once a quarter.
Right.
At like once, twice a quarter. Once as me, and then once as Don's.
Right.
Right. Just so that we have that.
Right.
Right. And then being able to just like have the community come back and be like, hey, Halcyon was a second home for you guys, for a lot of you guys. Like, let's give people their opportunities for the people who deserve them. Right. And I want to be able to give those people those chances. And like doing that, kind of taking care of my mental health, that would be great.
Right. At least taking one step.
We'll figure it
forward.
out.
Yeah,
you can't
it's
do
just
it.
like my Sundays. If you guys bothered me on my Sundays, I'm gonna just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm gonna punch somebody.
Right. No, but I feel it. Like I think it's good that one, I love goals that you can measure, because like with me, I set 12 goals for each year. It's 12 small goals, one medium-sized goal per quarter, and then 2 big ones where I'm like, oh, like playing at Halcyon. Like last year was like, oh, okay, I played in New York, Sacramento, 10-15, and at Midway. Like
I have yet to play at Midway.
I
like
don't think I played in Midway.
You have not played.
yeah, so like
so.
that to me was just like all those things seemed unfathomable. Whatever the
Fathomable,
word.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But like it, like literally, I don't know how I got these opportunities, but they came, and it was like it surpassed anything that I had planned for that year. So now I'm just like, oh shit, well. The things I did last year were supposed to be my goals for this year. So now I'm just trying to figure out like how can, instead of it being like a me goal, how can it be like a us thing, you know?
That part.
You know?
Because it's like as much as I would love to be going to the top, it's fucking lonely if you go do it by yourself, right?
Right.
Like it's so much more fun when you have all the homies beside you and everyone's successful and you propping up everyone. It's so stupid. Like a lot of the times this scene where it's like you're stabbing each other's backs and pushing each other on the bus. I'm like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Especially in a scene that is like San Francisco's, where it's like it's small, it's big, but it's small.
Right.
Everyone knows everybody.
Everyone knows everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone should get to the point where it's like, hey, let's go support our friends, and not just be like empty. Oh, I'm gonna go and support you, and then just never fucking show up.
Right. Yeah. I think it's definitely, I mean, with it being so small yet so big, like it is hard to support when there's four homies playing at 4 different venues, you know?
In the same night.
In the
Yeah,
same-
exactly.
At the same time.
Like and
all the
It's
time.
not
Yeah.
uncommon, but it is.
It happens more
happens.
often than you think.
Yeah.
Like, every single time Johnny and I have a boys' night, it's always 6 venues, and then all of a sudden it's 5 a.m. We're like,
Oh my god.
son of a bitch.
yeah. No, it's rough. It's rough on the body, but it's such a vibe, you know? It's like, and it's also like, I mean, like, it's just cool to be like part of something that's bigger than you constantly. And this community and this scene, it provides that, you know, where you're just like, oh shit, like I remember like going to see this person. Now I'm in the green room with this person, you know, talking to them and like blah blah blah, and like, oh shit, we have so much more in common than I thought, you know.
Yeah, I mean, DJs are all regular people too.
They
There's-
really are.
They're having the opportunities that we've had, right? Me being in the green room at Halcyon is just like, oh, like
Gold
they're
room.
gold. But being in that room and like talking to all the headliners that come through, and it's just like, oh yeah, they're all just regular people going through the regular, our regular bullshit. Sometimes their stuff might be significantly, more ridiculous than ours, but like, the same people. They're like, you talk to them and they're just glad that you're not, you're talking to them like a regular person. Right. You can have a conversation with them, and then you hit on a few points, and all of a sudden you like DM them on Instagram, like, oh yeah, remember our conversation, blah blah blah. Right. And it's just, and then it kind of sparks something, right? Like,
Yeah. Some
they
of them
have something to look forward to when they come back.
Yeah.
Some of them just want to get away from the big talks for a while because they spend all day on the road, like doing that thing. Best like down to earth one is just like up in the gold room when I was hanging out with Vanessa like last year. Like literally, it's just like person to person. She just seemed much more relaxed to just not have to talk about the industry for like 5 minutes. Is
It's
the reprieve
draining. It's
I
draining
was able to
talking
give to
about
her.
like, what are you doing next
Just
week?
like,
Or,
hey,
like, where are you going to be next week? Or blah, blah, blah,
Like,
blah. It's draining.
literally
It's the
just
same
like,
conversation.
What
like,
did you get to eat before you came here?
We were
Just
talking
like,
to we were talking to Odd Mob after the show. We weren't asking about his music or anything. We were just like, hey, how was your flight?
Yeah.
Or where are you staying at? Or how do you like the city? Like normal.
Yeah, exactly.
that.
Yeah.
And
We're like,
they need that just like we
oh
need
no,
that,
and
man.
then like a funny story about Oddmob and his wife, right? He took his wife on tour for like the first time. And it was hilarious because, you know, I kind of like flipped him off a few times. And I was like, fuck you, dude. What the fuck was that? To him a few times when I was up there pouring him his drinks. And his wife, like, towards the end of the show, like, pulls me aside. She's like, hey, I know this is the end of like my stop in the U.S. tour, but like, why do people keep on cussing my husband out? Like, I've been like, I should have asked this question immediately.
Right.
The first time we were in the U.S., but now I'm too scared to ask him. I'm like, well, okay, well, the best compliment you can get from a DJ to another DJ is if you fucking have a stank face and flip them off.
Yeah.
And then, or just like go up to him like, fuck you, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? That is the best.
You've blown their mind.
You've blown their
done your
minds, and
job.
that's the only thing that they
Biggest
can fucking
compliment.
do is flip you off and say fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, oh.
If I can get a global headliner to do that to me, I'll probably just retire.
Dude.
I'll just
Yeah.
I'll be like,
yeah.
all right, cool. I can quit DJ and then just produce until like I'm like basically like collabing with that guy because he seems to fuck with it pretty heavily.
Right.
Like, that's what I need.
Yeah. That's
Which is more or less what we got when we was it Joshua when
Joshua,
like,
so
yeah,
done
like-
Miha. Like,
and
she-
Miha gave us the same fucking respect. She's
Yeah.
just like, dude, bold fucking choices on
Yeah.
the fucking set.
Yeah,
man.
because
And
she
Miha-
stood
Miha's
behind us
sick as
for a
fuck.
while,
I
right?
I
And-
definitely fangirled so fucking hard.
dude,
I
same.
got so nervous around her.
Dude,
Like
yeah, I wouldn't even know. I mean, even with like someone like Lenny Kaiser, who we had at one of our events, like
the Halloween.
yeah.
Halloween, I remember that.
even then I was just like, I was like going up to him like while he was like DJing and everything, just to make sure that he got his drinks and blah 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 and X, Y, and Z, and like me just going up to him, just being like,
Did
hey,
you
excuse me,
water
sir,
face?
sir, do you need like liquids or anything? He's just give me a Red Bull. And I was like, oh, okay, right away. Like, yeah, you know. And I was like, all right, I got you, don't worry. But yeah,
Dude,
it's super sick because like I mean, even just like when I was younger, going to festivals, like thinking that I would know someone who's on stage was near impossible in my eyes. You know, like growing up, going to concerts and blah blah blah. Like I was like, oh, dude, like. That's like there's how do you like outside of like you know getting a major label like deal, like how do you do it, you know, like blah blah blah.
Well, but also, I mean, like a lot of the times, people don't recognize the DJs when they're walking through the crowd.
Right.
I've had that multiple times where I've like walked someone through the crowd and they'll be like, "Who is this person that just bumped into me?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "This motherfucker's Chris Liebing." The person you paid to
see,
be here
yeah.
to see, like, you know, this is Oddmoth, this is his wife,
Yeah.
you know, this is Christoph, like,
Yeah.
that is best case scenario. I've definitely been blacked out and mistaken people for headlining DJs, and
Yeah,
like
that's also
and I'm just
very
like,
fair.
oh fuck, my bad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, no,
That's
I mean,
hella
like
it was like when Zach and I were at Crossed, and MK like was walking through the crowd, and Zach and I kind of like looked at each other like, all right,
either we're fucked up or that's it.
it's like, yeah, it's either this is hitting real hard, or that's MK, and we're kind of like, okay,
Should we roll the
what,
dice
what
and
is
say hi,
what is
or-
what is the worst thing that could possibly happen if it isn't MK? And he looks at me and goes, that's fair, and we just like couldn't booked it over,
Right.
Like, Mark, he turns around and goes, shh.
Yeah, that like things like that happen. Like I was at I think like Hard Summer or something. Yeah, like I think it was a Hard Summer, and like Phlegmatic Dogs and like Volak were just like chilling.
I love Phlegmatic Dogs,
Dude,
by the way.
they
Guilty
speak
pleasure.
zero English. They
Those are my boys.
dude, they're so
their
fucking
shit
sick.
slaps,
Dude,
bro.
like that whole that era, like that is who I am. You know that
Right
whole
here, this is hot, like
bass
hot
house.
fire, hot
Oh,
fire and shit.
dude.
Like just my soul is just
Yeah.
like all that like bass breaks, like garage style.
Yeah,
shit.
that
like,
night bass era when they were like burning hot. Like no one can outside of Dirty Bird, who was like competing with them. You know, it was Dirty Bird was more tech house, while Night Bass was more like bass house.
Dude, that's where I first saw AC Slater. Was at that club I was talking about, or that venue space, Blow Up. Like,
Oh, okay.
That's where that vibe came from.
Right.
Like the original like Wobbles in house.
Yeah.
Like Be Rich, AC Slater, fucking dude, I can't even name anything else off the top of my
Right.
head, but it was a wild.
Yeah, no,
And it only got better from there. Like
I mean, well, just like with more creatives, I guess, and more accessibility with technology and blah, 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 like it allowed so many new artists and like new ears to kind of like have their play in this thing.
And apparently the ability to just torrent all the production software out there. During that area. I don't think that is torrenting still a thing. Wow.
It is still a thing, but I think the companies are cracking down a lot more.
Well, you have to buy like the product keys and
you
like
have to
USBs
buy the
and
actual product keys.
I personally pay for all of my stuff, so shout out Reason for having a monthly subscription now.
Dude, I downloaded
I pay
Reason
for all my music now. Yes,
I downloaded Reason and didn't even know what to do. Like I like bought it and I was like, all right, well we're here. I was like $200 later. I was like, oh well, now this is just a fucking software. It might as well just be like iMovie.
Oh, it's like what I've bought fucking Ableton on their Black Friday sale. It was 40% off. Bought the whole thing. It's originally like $900.
Right.
But I like got it for like $500.
Yeah.
That shit was ridiculous. I didn't touch it for like 3 months, and I was like, I finally looked at it. I was like, I paid how much money for this?
Yeah.
I should probably learn how to.
Yeah. I mean, it's dude. Yeah. I mean, once you get into the whole scene and everything, like. And you start buying things, and you like even just buying a song on Beatport. Like I feel bad not using the song. Like it's like I bought it. Like I might as well use it. Like in any form or fashion, even if it's just like at a kickback. I can say I played the song.
I've had the
worse?
Guilty pullback where like you didn't get to play a set proper, or you didn't get through all the tracks that you had, and that the next one you almost feel like you have to force those songs into the set. Right. Otherwise, you're not going to do them justice to the artist, to the money you spent, to like how much effort it took to even get that like on your fucking computer from the time spent to even make it. And I've done that so many times, and it's probably, I think I've probably killed the vibe at a couple house parties, but you know what? Their track got played. It sounded great. And if the people can't enjoy that, that's their fault, I guess.
I mean, okay, the worst one is when you start producing and then you start buying plugins, and then all of a sudden it's like crack. You can't have enough.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, I'm trying to find a specific sound. And you like look up which plugin has that specific sound. And then all of a sudden, like $400 later and 7 plugins later, you're just like, what have I done? What have I done?
Yeah. With plugins, what I've heard is you end up always just using the same 10, maybe. You know,
that's the objective.
You have
find what works.
Right.
You have some that are just like, we'll insert just enough magic into your track to be like, that's why I bought it.
Right.
For the 5 seconds in this 6 minute to 4 to 6 minute long track that I've made, this is for the 5 seconds. It'll feel amazing. And then you'll feel vindicated. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, this is.
Well, that kind of goes back to, and then I'm going to go back to you about what your goals are for the year. But that goes back to like, when you're DJing and you have one person there and they're gigging and you're just like, okay, this is why we do it. Even if it's like an empty room, you're just like, fuck, okay, like, all right, it made it worth it, and like with us, we have to go up to San Francisco. It's not like there's shows out here in San Jose. So
there
like,
should be.
There should be.
There are
like,
some here.
I'm just saying there should be.
Yeah, but
Whoever's
like this,
doing level 44, by the way, like big shout out to the house acts they bring in there. Like,
they
might be the only one.
My thing that once again.
Do enough.
It's not the club's fault. They're like people not trying. It's the lack of like. There's no community out here like for it. Like everyone out here is like more like a wook.
And then we're not talking about the shows that are at Civic.
Right.
Not
those.
Actual
Yeah.
No,
like
I
clubs,
get that.
like,
It's literally just like a college hip hop vibe everywhere you
And
go.
trance.
yeah.
Trance always sells out.
And then like
dubstep.
Was it like the bass music that
And
people
bass
go to
music,
shows to cry to type shit?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I hate Millennium.
Oh, you mean Christian music?
I got family that is like diehard like Millennium fans, and I'm just like, I would never go to a show with you. I would never go to a show with you, but I will wipe your tears at the end when I pick you up in the fucking, the whip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm there for you.
You get people that fucking drive from San Jose down to Santa Cruz for these shows.
Yeah. Like it's insane. I think it's more so. I think it's like because it's so like suburban and like local out here. I think people don't like to like get weird because they're afraid that they'll bump into someone that they know type shit. And then like driving out to SF, like you don't know anyone if you don't know anyone, you know?
SF is just like a special kind of weird. Everyone knows that.
Everyone's fucking weird, but it's so great.
But also like driving 40 minutes somewhere, like you're like, oh, I have to make this a good night. Driving 20 minutes to the club, you're just kind of like, all right, well, it's just,
And some motherfuckers can walk to the club out here, I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I drive 20 minutes to the club every weekend.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But
boy.
you know what I mean? But you're going to San Francisco. You're not going to San Jose. You know,
Right.
like that's the difference. Is like even
just
here,
simply saying that, it really does set a precedent, though.
yeah.
I'm going to San Francisco for this
It just
party,
feels.
to this
I'm
club.
going to the city.
Going to the city.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
different when you be
versus-
like, I'm about to head.
afters too.
You're like then that's also the thing where it's just like you're going to the club. You might go to a different club, and then next thing you're like, well, I might as well make this a night and
Go to the afters.
Go to the afters. You know, so it's
If
just like
you are in the know.
Wait,
yeah.
still.
If
Or
yeah,
have
if you're
somebody with
alive,
you, yeah.
if you're alive, willing, and able to, you're gonna go. You know.
Yeah, it's part of the experience.
Exactly. But with you being down here, what are your goals for 2023?
I think first and foremost, just take care of my mental health.
What's up?
It's you against the world, right? No one's gonna save you. No one's gonna pull you out of the water,
Right.
except yourself. Being in nightlife, you move a little different, and you also got to make sure that you're being safe when you do it, but also have a good time,
Right.
Whether if I'm going to go play or if I'm going to go shoot, whatever. And like you said, 40-minute drive. What could happen on that 40-minute drive? You're thinking a lot. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely focus more on my mental health. Last year took a toll, at least on me. So just prioritizing yourself, not nobody else. My second goal would be try and level up my photography game. Like you mentioned earlier, it was a hobby. Now it's turning more into like a source of income, right? So people like my work. People like I did the whole last weekend for Halcyon. I
Right.
sent it to
He
Gina.
also did media for me for Sunburn when I
did.
Oh, okay.
I did
Yeah,
his
when he
videos
was
too.
in
So
15, which was an amazing show, by the way.
people like my work, so I'm getting compensated for that,
Right.
And just trying to level that up,
Right.
I'm trying to be in talks of potentially doing media for Halcyon, 100%
Doing that full time?
doing that like full weekend time,
Right.
I haven't had
Right.
5, but
yeah.
doing that time, and then just trying to like level up that stuff, and then third thing would probably be traveling more whilst doing my photography. So like
Yeah,
I went to
yeah.
EDC.
Will you?
When you shoot for these people, you meet their managers, you meet their team, right? So like, for example, earlier you mentioned Volok, right? I worked with them super last minute at Audiotistic 2 years ago,
Okay.
and they were playing EDC. So I shot a DM to them for EDC. Let's do it.
Right.
They weren't on till like 11. I was cold emailing artists, so I actually opened up somebody at Wasteland, like right when EDC opened.
Right.
And the sea of people that just come
Running.
like,
Right.
it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that. And you're on stage, right?
Right.
And I'm
Fucking
just
Wasteland, that's the
seeing-
hard style one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I last about 45 seconds there. and then I gotta move on
last
to
like
something.
the first beat. I'm out of
Yeah.
here.
So I mean, I think I shot four artists that day, back to back to back.
Damn.
Yeah. So I had to go to like 3 different stages.
Right.
We were just talking about it earlier when we went to go get food, but I want to do more festivals. I want to do more out of town stuff. I know, last year I set my goal that I want to do a major festival. I know Audiotistic is technically a festival, but that's
Right.
not like a whole weekend. Hey, we have to drive more than 2 hours
Right.
to go. So I do want to do Coachella. That is on my bucket list.
Right.
No promises. I know things come in time. So that's for sure.
EDC again?
Most likely EDC again.
Right.
I do know some lineup hasn't dropped, but I've been in contacts with people that they're already going, and I'm already in talks with going over there
Right.
with them. So
That's so sick. I mean, me personally, as like a businessman, I love when I can write off something, you know, and it still be a good time.
Yeah.
Like, going and you're not just experiencing something, but
It's work.
You're enhancing that experience,
Yeah.
or you should be trying to
Yeah.
enhance it experience when you're working it. You
Yeah.
know, even if it's just you being a vendor, just like Chocolate Sushi, who we mentioned earlier, like he worked the front, you know, checking IDs, checking tickets
At Midway, right?
At Midway, and then now he's at these.
That's how I met him. Yeah, he was checking IDs.
That's the first time I've ever met him was there, and like walking
Dude,
up.
I almost guarantee that you could probably still catch him helping out over there. Like,
For sure.
He's
Yeah,
a real,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
a real one.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he knows the people that he wants to support, and he's not going to change who he is and what he does just because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like we all can emulate that same
Right.
mentality.
Right. No, that's that like it's there's different ways of you getting like your foot in the door, you know, like it's as simple as kind of like reaching out to one person, one venue, just being like, hey, do you need an extra hand? Hey, this collective, whether it be with you guys at Very Good Beat Club, and being like, hey, if you need help with someone just working the front, I can help you out with that, you know.
We've done it for each other.
Exactly.
Definitely. With
So,
Meraki and all that. It's been a great experience.
so it's those things where it's just like you don't always have to be the guy, you know. You don't have to be the person on behind the decks. Like there's ways for you to elevate everyone's experience alongside with you learning new things, learning how things are done and why they're done versus just showing up with a USB and leaving an hour later, you know.
Right.
Yeah, no. The thing is, so if you are there as an opener or support, you stay. You have to. You should stay.
Yeah.
Like I know.
Best interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is in your best interest if you want to get booked again at the same club to stay until at least the last call.
Right.
Right. So you're there until 2:00. Mm-hmm. Anytime after that, anything goes, especially, depending on what you have like going on during your day. But like minimum, you should be there until 2:00.
Right.
Anytime you leave before the headliner plays at least 2 hours, why are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose out on opportunities.
Yeah,
too.
you miss up on opportunities. This is how I've gotten to be the official closer at Halcyon. Is everyone leaves?
Just Biden. Just be there.
One of the I'm always here.
What show was that I fucking heard that on? Oh yeah, New Girl, dude. Shout out New Girl. One of my favorite shows during quarantine,
shout out,
dude.
New Girl's fucking hilarious.
New Girl's fucking hilarious. But yeah,
I was there hanging out one time, and then we ended up going back to back.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fucking it's once again, it's about showing face, being there,
Being present.
and like it's not like I have social anxiety, so like it is kind of hard for me to just walk up to people, that have names, and be like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. My name is, I don't even know how to introduce myself. I'm like, I'm Danny, AKA George.Daniel,
Just
blah, blah, blah.
introduce yourself as your name. You're like, hey, I'm Danny.
Yeah.
Right. And then, they'll introduce themselves via their first name.
Exactly.
Or like,
It can only go
you've
one
done
of
a
two
little bit
ways.
of,
Exactly.
You do a
Either
little bit
they
of
don't like
research.
you or they
You're
do.
Or like, I'll be like, hey, George, I'm Danny. Like, it's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's,
yeah, and it goes back to like everyone is human, So it's just
Everyone is human.
like just treat everyone like a human being and treat everyone how you would want to be treated. But like, it's fun and it's also work, Like it's not always you trying to get a free shot. It's not about you getting your drink tickets. It's not about you being on stage just hanging out, It's like you just being there, shaking hands with the people who are also like in the general admission area and just like, dude, I love this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you grab their Instagrams and then they start seeing whatever the fuck you're doing. So there's like, there's a lot of different ways for you to kind of like get your foot in there and like do yourself justice,
Right.
yeah. So it's like, it's also like, everyone has this thing where you're like, oh, I'm gonna go backstage and chill with the DJ. I'm like, nah, if you're a DJ, you should be on the, you should be on the floor and be connecting with people.
Right.
Right. Cause like, A-Track has said it well, DJ's got to dance more, right? You got to be on the floor to be able to be like, hey, this is the vibe. you know, this is what he's bringing. I'm like, what can I do to fucking do that? And then you learn on the floor.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, sure. You know, if you have the ability to go backstage, yes, go backstage for a little bit. Like, you know, sometimes, a lot of times, backstage is even more crowded. It's ridiculous.
One little piece of advice that I got was like, you can socialize at the afters.
Yeah.
Socialize at the afters. That's where everyone's kind of unwinding, talking about whatever and da 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 da. But like, if you're going to the show, like fucking be at the show. You know,
Present
like,
at the show,
like,
connect with the show.
Yeah, like because you're gonna learn more from a DJ on stage than you are having a conversation with them. Like you're like the only thing that you're gonna learn from them is like, oh, you should email this person for this club or like blah blah blah. But that was information that you could have gotten from anyone. You know.
And the last thing you want to do is like bother the living shit out of a DJ while they are trying to get ready.
Bro,
Right.
miss
Right.
me
You know?
with that shit for sure.
Like-
Like
Right, like just you're trying to get yourself in the zone. Like you know, we've all experienced it. Like we're trying to get in the zone, and all of a sudden, someone's like trying to get your attention. I'm just like, yo, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
read the room. Yeah,
Exactly.
like,
But I need a pee, so I'll be right back.
cool.
All right. So like, coming like now that we're like a week or two into the year, whatever.
Shout out 23.
Yeah. Shout out. They've been a huge blessing thus far. But
Already.
with everything that you have with the photography stuff, and you mentioned that you wanted to kind of use that as like a way to kind of like expand and explore new venues, new places, blah blah blah. So like for you, it's obviously work, but also like how do you kind of have fun while doing it? You know, because like DJing is fun usually the hour that you're on. And then you're just kind of like there, you know. But you're, but you know what I mean, like
Listen to that.
Yeah.
No.
You get the best of both worlds.
Right. But like, you get a kind of like you get a different experience. You're literally like running around in the crowd, on stage, green room, everything. So like, kind of explain to the people like the pros and cons of being a photographer. You know, because you're not listening to the music. I mean, you are, but you're not. You know.
So, like, from my point of view, it's like, well, yeah, I run around. You know, you have that all-access wristband. You know, you got to go everywhere, right? From club to festival to venue to whatever it is, right? You got to go everywhere, take pictures, capture the moment. Your goal there as a shooter is to not only, like, you know, recap the event, but also, you know, show face for the whole venue, right? You want to see like that. You want to see that shit packed. You want to see girls. You want to see, you know, the DJ having a good time. Those big drops, their main songs.
Yeah,
The
like
production value.
You're capturing all of that. That's like your job to do. And I mean, it's work, like you said. But how I keep it fun is like I network. Right. You talk to a lot of people. Like you know how many times that people just go up to you and be like, can you take my picture? Or can you like who are you shooting for?
Right.
Oh, like who hired you? Oh, you have a business card? You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, like, you know, I just introduced myself, you know, I'm Alex, you know, photographer, I'm shooting for Halcyon, whatever.
Right.
You know, if you need photos, let me know. This is my rate, you know. So it's kind of like a more of a network thing. You meet new people, right? I mean, that's how I met Thomas. Right?
ABC, always be chatting.
Yeah.
You know, worst thing they could do, just say no, ignore you. Okay, cool, whatever.
Right.
There's like a million other people there.
Right.
Oh my God, I know Thomas Machina.
I know, right?
Name drop.
The thing that sucks is, you know, the pay, right? I started off as free. You know, after you value yourself and see what you can offer, not only to like whether that be a sole DJ or the venue, you know, you have to make your price, right? So I started like $150, right? $150 each set, and then as time goes on, you know, you start raising that price. You're gonna get a lot of no's along the way. You're gonna get like just a lot of no's, right? But it just takes that one yes to get your foot in the door. It only took one yes for me to basically get an EDC. It took one yes for me to do, you know, day to night. You know, it took me many times to get into, I don't know, the midway, 10, 15, whatever. But, you just got to set that standard for yourself, or no one's gonna take you seriously. Because are you gonna, like, do you feel like, are you gonna do it for free? No. Am I gonna drive an hour alone to San Francisco for $100? That's gas, there and back,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I know this year, like, I'm not gonna name drop, but you know, this one artist reached out to me and was like, "Yo, I'm playing in this club. You know, what's your rate?" And I was like, "Okay." I try and make it simple. I do both photo and video, so I just put them two together. Okay, cool, 400, right? And I got left on red, right? So I'm just like, okay, cool, F them, whatever.
Right.
You know, more people come along. So you're gonna get a lot of no's, but you can't take it to heart. Because there's going to be people out there that are going to want to work with you and are going to want to see what you have to offer, either to the venue or to them. So I know for Gina put me on, you know, so many things, whether it be playing, going there to shoot. Same thing with Thomas, since he's the manager, right? So I'm making this video for them. Still in progress, still not done. It's a whole 90-second reel of this past weekend, the first weekend of the year, at the club. So I'm doing that out of the graciousness of me, because they open the doors. Me, so many, right? So, but you know, it's sometimes like you scratch their back, you know, they're gonna scratch yours back, right? So,
because me with running Meraki and everything, like we've had our fair share of photographers, and like it's always nice to like just be like, oh, what's your rate? Cool, all right, we'll pay it, and like, you know, we expect whatever we just talked about, you know? And then like, there's been like times and experiences where like we've booked someone to be photographer and
You don't get what you pay for.
yeah.
Oh,
And it's just like, dude, why did you just give me pure raws? Like the main part was, yes, you shooting, but also like the extracurricular stuff is what's gonna put your name, you know? It's just like, if I just use fucking Instagram to edit your photo, it's not gonna look right, you know? And then like, it's also not your photo anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like so like, with the photography aspect of everything, I think it's really cool because you are like, you're a team player for so much more than just the artist that's there, you know? You're there to highlight the party. So whoever is the booker, you're highlighting the venue, you're highlighting the artist, and you're also then gonna like highlight those individuals that are there, you know? You get one cool photo of the crowd, someone tags, there's like, dude, I see you, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, like now you have,
Huge.
So like that to me is just like going back to the earlier conversation about not like knowing your rate, you know, and like also just being truthful with yourself, you know, like I'm not going to be like, oh, pay me $200. Like that's not where I'm at.
Or with Alex's case right now is like showing a body of work to Gina so that he can validate the price that he's putting up.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, this is going to be a consistent body of work for me every single time you book me. This is why you should pay me this much.
Right.
This is why I'm worth this much.
Yeah.
Right. One of those multiple photos where he caught me like candidly pouring Masasari, his last drink. And everyone was just like, oh, what are you doing, Thomas? You taking alcohol? I'm like, fucking dry January, bitches. Go fuck yourselves. I'm pouring Matt his last drink.
You also, I mean,
it's 2 o'clock.
It's a business at the end of the day, right? You also got to invest in yourself by knowing your rate. You know, I could tell Gina that I've been to these festivals and I've done work with these artists and I've done this and this and this, but she doesn't know me then, right? She didn't know what I did. I'm trying to show her now, and so her what I have to offer. And you know, I'm just trying to be a part of that whole scenario and just help get to the next, help them get to the next level, right? And not only that, helping them get to the next level, but also myself with handling their media and doing all that to where, you know, I can elevate myself as a photographer. And just try and do more stuff, and maybe more doors will open in the future. And you know, it is very tiring. It is a lot of work. You know, people just see me on Instagram. You know, behind the DJ Instagram, take an Instagram video, whatever, cool. But people don't see me go home. People don't see me put all my camera shit away. People don't see me, you know, unloading all the footage, photos, separating everything. Like for Friday for 96 Vibe, I had to go to his show. I went to him. He didn't even ask me. I just did it, which goes back to your conversation about supporting, right? He even asked me to shoot. I just went because I wanted to go support the homie, and I like his music. So went there, and then I went to Bergerac because Kenny and Foolie and all them were all there.
Right,
so
right,
I took
right.
some photos of them. I started doing Polaroids. So, I took Polaroids of them. I'm trying to have this thing where they sign in and I upload it to Instagram.
That was you?
That was me.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's
Because they
me.
posted that on their stories and
Saw that,
everything.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
of course I saw
Yeah,
that.
not a good one of Matt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Sassari, like he speaks French, so like he I kind of don't understand him, but I had him sign it.
That's fucking so
Yeah.
sick.
I had him sign it, so that's another thing I'm doing this year. I want to elevate it. If I don't know you, if you're just a random you want Polaroid, hit
Right.
$20, but for the homies, it's different,
Right.
So
I think that's fucking so sick. I mean, me being like kind of having this marketing brain. The cool thing about being a photographer is you're capturing a moment, and then you can like kind of like I don't know what Paul or I don't know if it's Jake or Logan where he does this like mini series where he takes a Polaroid at a place and then has like a 6-minute video where he's talking about the experience and everything. Like you have like this avenue where you can be like do the same thing and like then people get to know you and how you saw that moment, because everyone can re-listen to the mix, but it's different from like the person who is just like, oh, at this specific moment, like the crowd went crazy. And to get this shot, like I had to go like blah, 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 like I was in the back and all this other shit. And like, that's such a unique, experience that maybe 2% of the people in the scene get, because there's not a lot of, there's anyone can be a photographer the same way anyone can be a DJ. But it's the level to entry is a little harder, for a photographer. Like not everyone can afford a camera, but everyone can afford a $20 USB,
Yeah.
Like it's cool. And like, now with you being a DJ and everything, like who's going to shoot you? Like,
So that's another cool thing about being in like the photo industry. So just like with these gentlemen right here and how they have their collective of friends and stuff like that in the music industry, right? So I know it's similar and it's adjacent to that, but the photographers have their own little industry. And
Right.
So the photographers and videographers. So, shout out my boy John, Slack at 1015, Miss Sayola at Midway, Time Consuming, Martin, and amongst others. Not only out here, as far as Florida, shout out MTK, but, all it takes is just a phone call, right? And, hey, I'm playing, this show, can you come shoot me, right? And then, they're homies, right? But since I am a photographer, I know what it's like. So it'd be like, oh, what's your price for you to come shoot me Friday
Right.
at 11, right? And then they might hook you up, they might not hook you up, but you can't take that to heart because they're your homies and that's their job. That's
Right.
their livelihood, right? So you don't want to take that away from them.
Right.
So even if I didn't have anybody to shoot me, I wouldn't be upset. But I know when I played for Odd Mob, my boy John came through. Shout out John. He did excellent work. He got video, photo, and super super cool guy. So just being in that knit community of where like even if I do get to play again, which it's gonna be very soon. Which is gonna be very soon.
Don't worry about that.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
We got you.
We
for our birthdays.
in about a month.
Yeah.
Call my just hit up my homie Martin. Usually he's he's next door audio, so he just come through and take some photos and just a couple $100.
Yeah.
So it's like that. So you do people.
Right. And then kind of like to piggyback off what I just asked him, like with you guys, like how do you guys kind of like set your price and your own self-worth, because we are event coordinators, we are this, but we're wearing different hats. Every hat is a different price, so like how do you kind of like measure that?
Shit, dude. I mean, just going back to what I was saying earlier with us understanding kind of what the standard is right now in the entertainment community, you kind of have to understand that there's not a lot of wiggle room, right?
Yeah, you gotta bite the bullet. If we're throwing on events,
it's not even necessarily biting the bullet. You have to find that happy middle ground of this is what I'm dedicating to make this happen. So if I'm only getting paid X amount, monetarily, I need to reevaluate the other value points of what I'm trying to get done. And
Right.
then that's when you go more into like the community building. That's when you're going into hiring more people on to create these everlasting moments and just make sure that those things are always paying themselves forward. So like, even if I'm only getting paid $150 for like an opening or a direct support set, like let's say at Halcyon or 1015 or wherever we do end up in the future, even if we don't have control over that one, that doesn't mean that we can't make those changes when we start hosting events and we change hats. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, we do have the power to control how much people get paid. And in the beginning, like you already know, you don't know how much money you're going to make on an event.
Right.
So you do want to find this like soft cushion that will get people to not necessarily say no, but maybe be hesitant to say yes. And then once you establish like that, you know, that middle ground, then you can start building upon that. And I think that's what we're looking at doing for our new like event series is like, we want to continually scale up if possible and
Right.
like
Yeah.
start with a baseline and hopefully get to the point where, you know, if we're not bringing in necessarily headliners, then we can create the mentality where everyone who comes in is a headliner.
Right.
And feels like it and can take that to the bank. You know what I mean?
I mean, as an event coordinator myself, like it's difficult. It's hard. Like just in general, you know, it's just difficult. Like there's so many things, so many factors at play during the event, but there's so many more like before the event, you know.
Before and after.
Like it's
so much.
It's just so much, you know. And like it's hard to like. Sometimes it's hard to like put the artists in the back burner because you're having a discussion with the owner of the club, you know, and being like, okay, well, like, how do we do? Blah, blah, blah. What's our cut? You know, and like, and then even, and that's after the show, but then before the show, like, yes, you're discussing all these things, but you're just like, you're negotiating like, okay, well, do we get door or are we splitting bar? And like, how does that look if we hit X amount and how, you
Right.
know, blah, blah, blah. And like, those are all things where it's just like, you have to, once again, know your value. And also setting an expectation for whoever's, you know, allowing you to like throw this event, you know?
Right.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, we could all pay $1,000 for a room, sure, you know. But then you have to make that back, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you also have to pay the photographer, you have to pay the artist, you know, and there's
Security, the, you know,
everything.
Bar,
there's so much that goes into that. And it's not just that, it's also the time that everybody on the back end is investing before the event even fucking happens.
Right.
Like all this like promotion creation, like thank you so much Fabian, who's already dedicated for Very Good Beat Club to like start putting out more of our promo content. And then we have people who are actually openly negotiating endless hours for venues that are willing to work with us and actually throw these events where we're not actually taking anything home so that we can set a precedent of success for the next one so we can
Right.
start asking more and more and hopefully open up contracts. And that's
Yeah.
that's the end goal, right? Is like to have something written
Yeah.
that says this is our value. You have seen it. You know, accept that. So moving forward, this is what we're scaling up from.
So like with us as Meraki, like we're still kind of like we're still kids in this shit, you know, like for real. So we're still kind of
slay, bro.
But I mean, like at the end of the day, like that's like we're still learning everything. Like there's so much to learn, and you're always going to learn. But like with you having entities who were already like had a business license and everything, like what's the difference between you hoping to get these contracts now that you don't have that license versus when you did?
Well, the license is guaranteed. It's going to come back. It's necessary, and it's not just about obviously protecting yourself financially. I mean, setting up your LLCs or S corp or C corp, and I don't want to get too boring, but it's basically just preventing somebody from being able to sue you in, you know,
Right.
liable situations, especially when you're getting more into the private, you know, event
Private
sector.
events. And then
Because
also
he
one-
came in and started doing weddings with me, and like we want to get to the point. I definitely getting the license established like by mid-year, because we can't have like a speaker fall over, crush a kid, like God forbid, something
Right.
like that, right?
Right.
And then they can directly sue us. Like, no, they
Yeah.
would sue Very Good Beat Club for what it's worth, and then whatever we've taken as income from that, they can't touch that money. That's the money that we made working under Very Good Beat Club.
Right.
But those contracts are to more or less ensure that we can continue to support the people that have supported us from the get-go. It's money in and money out. Like, I don't care if at the end of the day Very Good Beat Club has no value. You know what I mean? It's literally just a means to an end for our community and the people that support it. So,
Right.
So
And
that's
then-
the objective.
And then, like, as a photographer, like, I've spoken to photographers and they have insurance, you know, one for their equipment, and then two just to have, you know, when they're doing these private gigs, you know,
Like Lemonade, right?
yeah. So it's like I've had these conversations, and it's just like it's super interesting to see the difference when you're just getting paid versus like a W-10 or whatever the fuck it is, or
1099.
yeah,
it's the most
1099,
frequent
yeah.
one, yeah.
You know, and it's different, you know, like when you actually have to sign something proper, blah blah blah, send it in. Even just like as a DJ, if you work at, you know, these venues, you have to submit your W-9 and everything. Which, like, the first time I did it, I was like, oh shit, am I a professional? You know, like I'm like,
10-15.
I'm on
yeah.
payroll, dude.
Like, you know, and then, like, I mean, yeah, it took 3 weeks because it's through the pay cycle, you know, or whatever. But like, still, it's like such a cool feeling to like get a check that says 10-15. You know, like it's such a weird fucking feeling as a person who went there so frequently and spent like 4 times more in alcohol at the bar, you know, than what I
One
got
night,
paid.
mind you, one night.
Yeah, it was a long night, but yeah, it was fun.
It was a good night.
Yeah.
Drinks.
Yeah,
Too much
But-
Burnett.
Hey.
but yeah, like it's such a unique experience that we get to have. Where people just think that we show up, whether you're the photographer, whether you're a DJ, whether you're the event coordinator and you're the promoter and everything. Like there's so many different things where like it's a different conversation for each stage that you're at.
Well, and then also we gotta give some love to like the bartenders as well, right? Because they add to the experience
For
right?
sure.
Because we have so many friends
Right.
that are in the industry that are bartenders, right? Like Avery or homegirl Avery or homegirl Mitra, like fucking amazing people,
Right.
And then people working the door, you know. Everything adds,
Right.
Everything adds.
It's a big
value.
team. It's a big structure. There's a lot of planning, but everyone brings something to the table. So there's a lot to consider.
Yeah, and it's cool. I think it was, I forgot who I was. I think I was talking to Jordan about it. He went to BFD and then he saw the subsonic tent, and then like he was just like, oh, I can do that. And then in my head, I was like, oh, I want to be the guy running the stage. You know, like that. Those were the two different, you know, like mindsets at that exact moment where we're watching Knife Party or whatever, and we're just like, you know what I mean? And like
Big energy.
you know, but that was like back in the day when GTA and everyone was like, you know, like that was the
Do you
sound.
remember the last time GTA was here and they had the 3 nights?
They did the Catalyst, right?
No, it was at 10:15.
Oh, okay.
It was at 10:15. Like one night was like a trap.
Oh, yeah.
Each set was a different.
Each night was a different set.
Yeah.
It had
And-
like a deep house night. I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you bought one ticket for all 3 of them. Like it was one big price ticket.
Right. I think
for
that was
all-
the last time they were
Or you could do
allowed to
separate, right?
use
One for
GTA,
3
right?
or separate ones as well.
Yeah. Now
That-
they're what? Good times ahead, right?
Yeah. Now you have to say good times ahead or else they get fucking sued, I think is what it was.
Why?
Because
'cause Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, because GTA.
Yeah.
Shout out Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, but dude,
really
that
taught me how to manage
also-
my finances.
But like, dude, that's such a stat that like
Spawn
your
attack,
name, or like your entity in itself is creating enough friction to where like the name is like, hey, you can't actually use us.
Yeah.
You know, like that's
Yeah.
actually sick as fuck. Because years prior, they were still GTA and they didn't say anything, and then they blew up, and then they're like, actually, you can't use that anymore. Because when people Google GTA, you guys pop up before we do. Like that's
Crazy.
insane.
I didn't even know that. This is my first time hearing that.
Yeah,
So
but like
that
that's
kind of blows my mind.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
But that friction's gonna happen anywhere. Like,
But,
even with collectives like us, we start getting into territories where you're like, oh shit, I might be stepping on other promoters' toes at like bigger venues,
Right.
Like, and you can't cross certain lines.
Yeah.
And there are some collectives that are willing to do it every single time, and
Yeah, I mean,
not gonna mention anybody, but
but like, shady people are always going to be amongst us. You know what I mean?
They throw great parties. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, and honestly, a lot of the times it's just due to more so financial like reasons. You know, whether they had money coming in or whether their parties generate enough money to where the clubs prefer them, even if they're, you know, whoever they are, you know.
Right.
And like, and yeah, it gets choppy for sure when trying to like collab with people and everything, and like
Politics, man.
yeah,
Huge thing.
Industry,
Never thought I would.
politics.
Yeah.
Is like the biggest thing when you get to that point. And I'm really happy to say that we've like crossed that threshold. Like
For the most part.
the
I mean,
most
I'm
part.
I'm deep in it every day.
right,
Sucks.
yeah,
the communication with artists, it's always like, are you playing anything within X amount of time of when we're trying to book you? Because you can't fucking play anywhere else.
Yeah.
or
Well,
for
I mean, but
anybody else.
that
or even
makes
talk
sense.
about
Yeah,
Because I
anybody
think
else.
like a lot of the clubs now is just like I think the one rule everyone should fucking follow is you should never play in afters the day you play at a big club. Because you're piggybacking off another big, like the big club's promotions.
Right.
Right. And then you're like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm playing it after as well. Then it's like two things. And people are like, oh, which one do I go to?
right.
Right. That's the one like line that you shouldn't cross.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot who I was talking to about this, where I think it was Tall Doors, where I was just like, instead of our biggest event with Meraki was the one where we collaborated with everyone, you know? And that was the 2 stages, Lenny Kaiser Halloween one. And like that one was a really, really good event because instead of like separating the community and having them like having one show at Monarch, one at FA, and then one at NEC, we were just like, fuck it. Why don't we just get everyone together? You know, I asked who you would like to have play, you know, like I was like, this is your set time. You choose who the fuck comes. I don't care. Like, you know, like that's on you as a collective. But like it just brought a different energy. People who only fuck with this collective or mostly support this collective all of a sudden saw someone from another collective and were like, oh shit, like actually like Mind Frequency or whatever the fuck, you know, or, you know,
Right.
like Spicy Boys when they were still a thing or whatever, you know,
I think they might kind of still be a thing.
Yeah, I think they
But mostly,
branched.
is it
branched
Ryan mostly running everything now?
but Spicy Boys is now,
So it's Spicy Boys, and then there's Blends and Trends, and then Alex is doing his record label.
right, with more on the floor.
More on the floor.
Yeah.
Good, big shout out to him. Like big props
He's-
making those moves.
He's
like,
one of he reminds me a lot of Chris Martinez.
okay from Createscape.
From Create.
Big shout out there.
He reminds me of someone who's just like very hands-on all his projects, but also very community oriented.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times when I talk to people about Alex, it's a lot of like trade and bartering.
Bartering,
And it's a lot of that where it's just like, all right, I'll do you this one favor for X amount of stickers or whatever the fuck, and then like you just have like Ryan play one of your shows or like have me play one of your shows or whatever the fuck. Like it's very just like, all right, well I'll do this, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type deal. And like yeah, like I think that's like a better way of doing things versus just being like, here's $400. Thanks for your service. I'll hit you up when I need you again.
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
like I had just hit him up about like, hey, you know, I'm debating about doing merch. Like, you have obviously plethora of experience with merch. Can I learn from you for a little bit? Like, you know, I will do something for you as well. Like, you know, something,
Right.
you know. So, you know, that's probably in the works.
Yeah,
merch.
Because yeah, with us in Meraki, that's gonna be my next step. Is like I want to buy and learn how to use the screen printing stuff.
Be prepared to drop some dough.
For sure, but
Lots of money. So
But the same way that I was talking to Chris about it was just like, yeah, you can sell your stuff wholesale and have someone else, you know, get the profit, or you can just fucking do it yourself.
Right.
And eventually, you're gonna have to do it yourself. So like that's where like I want to reach out to Alex soon and be like, hey, like the next time you have a big order, just like let me know. I'll come over for 2-3 hours or whatever. Just kind of like learn how to do it, help you out while you do something else, you know, because his plate is full, you know, with everything at Midway,
Yeah, no doubt.
and everything else like that. But like that just comes down to the community shit, you know?
Well, thankfully, at least with the DIY aspect to small business owners, now, like these last couple of years, it's never been easier to like get your stuff out there. As long as you have the means to actually get the product, getting it out there is like set and forget.
Right.
With like Etsy and then, you know, everything that kind of falls in that realm.
Exactly.
It's more or less automated now. It's practically social media. You just got to respond and it gets sent out. So
And okay, so speaking of social media, right? How do you market yourself? You know, like I know we all can be like, oh, like blah blah blah, blah.
Ooh.
but like for
How
real.
do you market yourself,
But no, I mean for
Dude,
you.
I'm hot garbage at marketing myself, man.
bro? Learning something new every day. As far as I know, you just got to beat the fucking algorithm to even get out there, and then beyond that is fucking something.
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's
I
impossible.
fucking ask this guy for like advice all the time. I'm like, yo, Alex, like how the hell do I like? And he's like showing me like his numbers and everything. I'm like, oh god, I have to get a TikTok. Fuck,
I'm
I have
the
to
same
make
way.
reels. Damn
Yeah.
it.
Dude, my reels fucking pop, and they are terrible. Like, they're so bad. They are hot garbage. Like, I literally can like splice something together in like 10 seconds. I'm like,
Fuck
no
it.
one's gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And then 24 hours later, it's got thousands of fucking interactions, and I'm like, dude, I have a hard time getting 17 fucking likes on a fucking photo. Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
I posted the video I took of John Summit at the Midway on TikTok. Just a raw clip. I just put a filter on it or a LUT. That's it. Uploaded it, went to sleep, woke up, 5,000 likes.
Yep.
Or no, views. Sorry,
Right.
views, and then like 800 likes.
Yeah.
she.
And then I have my Instagram linked on my TikTok. I went to my Instagram analytics. It said like 5K accounts reached in the last 30 days,
Right.
and all of them came from that one.
That one post.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean,
Dude,
yeah, a little bit of the algorithm, but you kind of got to invest in yourself as well. So like, you know, have people like me, I guess, take photos of you. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
My girl
The more
personally is
content-
about to run my fucking TikTok because I made one. I broke finally. I'm just like, I think we have to make one, but I haven't posted anything on it. And Mary has unofficially claimed stake to getting content together for me. So now I need some more professional content
Yeah.
to actually put on there.
I mean, that's genuinely the only, like, one of the main reasons why I started this podcast was because, like, you can post a flyer with a photo of you DJing from the last show you did. You know, that's the way that everyone fucking
Why you
promotes.
call me out like that.
But like, that's how all of us do it, right? You get the flyer, you're like, all right, I'm gonna post a photo of me DJing
But
from the last party.
it's the promo sandwich, right? Because you got to do the photo from the last show, the
that
flyer,
shows your face. That
And
has
then
to
the
show.
meme.
flyer,
And then like a
and then
meme.
at the
Yeah.
end, you either could have a meme as like the bun, or you can do like a short clip of that previous event, or if you're returning to a venue you played at before, a clip of you playing at that venue.
yeah.
But either way, you can't let that fucking flyer make your like main thing.
can't be the-
Otherwise,
yeah.
no one will see it. Like,
Well, also-
I don't know what it is, but that shit will get drowned out so quickly if there's like words or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, Instagram or Meta, I guess, is like it's
too
weird.
smart.
It's too
Brutal.
smart. It's too smart.
Brutal.
So like,
Brutal.
They'll assume it's spam.
right.
Yeah.
That's the problem. If 6 people are only posting the same flyer, they're gonna be like, okay, well,
Only show one of them,
Yeah.
right? So one person will get a lot of like interactions, and the other 5 that posted the same content, it like gets basically, I feel like it gets like sent to the queue basically
Right.
It gets
for
sent
what.
to the shadow realm.
like
Yeah,
literally
so
though.
you can keep scrolling, and then you may hit the second person. Keep scrolling through tons of content, and then you might get to the third person, but who knows if you'll ever get to see the
Yeah.
other artist unless you're actually following them and they post it on like their stories or something. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Yeah, it's difficult. Like I think honestly, the marketing aspect of trying to do your thing, whatever the fuck it is the most important part of whatever it is.
True.
Because we can all be bedroom DJs and be the best fucking DJ, but if you can't put yourself out there, no one's gonna fucking hear it. You know, like right now, my timeline is filled with people being like, these TikTok and real DJ or like aren't real DJs and blah blah blah. I'm like, kinda, but also like I think we're just kind of hating.
Well, okay. With the TikTok DJs and like producers, right? They all produce tracks that are like 2.5, 3 minutes long. I'm like, I can't mix them in anywhere.
Yeah.
Cannot. There's like no, it's not even here's a 16 bar intro and a 16 bar outro for you to maybe loop and bring in. Right. It's a raw dog. Here's your fucking track. Here's your first drop within 3 seconds.
Starts with vocals and ends with a build-up.
Yeah. And I'm just like looking at it like, why?
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, but those are the ones who have like 50,000 followers or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Millions of interactions.
Yeah.
They're monetized
So like
out the ass.
It's crazy. It's like me, once again, I'm jaded. I know that, but like I hate those people because I get to learn from them and be like, oh shit, like, okay, that worked for them. That's how you do that. Like, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. It really doesn't.
Well, it does. Cause I like one of those DJs, like they made like a YouTube series. It's like, hey, you might not think I do a lot, but I have to fucking post on TikTok like fucking 12 to 15 times a day.
Yeah.
Plus Instagram, plus this to interact.
Right.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, oh, you got to devote your entire day to marketing yourself if that is your job. Well, right.
Like my thing once again is like community, right? Yeah. So it's just like you might not be good at I'm not good at producing yet. Stay tuned. But I am good at being able to give someone a different point of view to get more interactions, you know? And like, that's what I really enjoy. I really enjoy being like, hey dude, like with one of your songs, like, why don't you get 3 other random DJs to, you know, make their own edit from it, throw those on SoundCloud while yours is on Spotify, iTunes, and all those platforms. And then that's just going to build a hype for the original song. And give those ones for free. And that's less work for you because you're having other people kind of share and promote it. The same way that like us as promoters, the reason why we have 5 DJs is for 5 other people to fucking, you know, promote this shit.
Right.
But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. Cause yeah, even with Fully, he's horrible at that shit. Like he's not great at social media, but he has someone else doing social media for him.
Right.
Or like or like, hey, I have your post, just fucking make your caption. If you don't have the caption, this is your caption. You know what I mean? Like, and we need that person, you know, like to kind of nudge us and all that shit.
But TLDR, how am I marketing myself? Really poorly. Right. That might be also my thing going into 2023. Like maybe reinvest into figuring out the best way to do that, get the TikTok going and actually put some, you know, content that's relevant. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put anybody particular in blast, but I swear to God, I've seen like DJs that just like wheel around like in their underwear. And I'm just like, dude, I'm not fucking doing that. Like
Little Texas.
Huh?
Little Texas.
No, it's someone I respect way more.
But no, like fucking, what was I gonna say? Like with the marketing aspect of everything, like it does change everything from like people being a performer, an artist, or a character, if that makes sense. Like I know some people who in our scene are characters online, but then you meet them and they're just normal ass people.
Oh,
you know?
Dude, if you're talking about Goshfather, I fucking love that motherfucker.
No,
you're talking about fucking ice creams.
Oh yeah, ice creams too. I had talked with Nate about it. I was like, hey man, like, what do you think about Sean and him lying on the floors? And he just kind of looked at me like, no comment.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, he's probably immune to everything that's out there right now. That's all I'm saying.
Anything
so
that
big ups
he's
to
like
his immune
touched.
system.
like yeah.
Anything he's fucking touched on those club floors post show. Oh.
I'm just thinking about all the people that like go up and hug him after that, you know, and now they just have like fucking whatever juices that were on the floor on them, and I'm just like, whatever. But like I mean,
If we can get him on the show and just like have a conversation about how he chooses his spots, like is there prep work? Does he give it a quick wipe down,
Yeah.
or is
I
he just
definitely
like
Does he
want-
soak himself with hand sanitizer?
has
Yeah.
like before? I don't know.
But then
yeah.
you meet him, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Right.
He's such
Yeah,
a
the,
cool guy,
the whole
yeah.
crew is absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. Like they're super humble, but they're stern with their like objective, and they'll tell you they're really upfront. So.
Right. No, yeah, and I mean, I'm like with I mean specifically with like Nate and ice creams, like with them, like I've unfortunately had to meet them 5 times before they remembered who the fuck I was before I was doing anything but I wasn't doing
That'll
anything.
happen.
But I wasn't
That'll happen, yeah.
right. But I wasn't doing anything. You know, like I didn't make an effort to put myself out there either online or to get in front of their faces. You know, and luckily the only reason why like Nate really even remembers me now is only because Dawada. You know,
Yeah.
and like I know her and we can always just chat. You know,
Another great person, right?
Right. So it was just like that like the marketing part of everything to just kind of like button everything up is super important and like undervalued for those who are doing it well. Which is why I brought up the TikTok DJs or the real DJs because it was just like they're doing it though, you know, like that. The only reason why I'm doing this podcast is so everyone has a long form content, you know, that they can go back and maybe put in their EPK or maybe fucking blah, blah, blah. And just, it's a way for people to get to know you more so than just a photo, just a mix and blah, blah, blah. But with like the conversation of content right now, like what are your guys' goals with you being on TikTok now? You as an artist, like how are you gonna market yourself? And then with you, how are you like what are your goals to like help people market? You know, because you're the facilitator in a lot of ways.
Bruh. He's
hire
gonna
me.
provide all the content to make
Yeah,
us look
no,
good.
you hired
man. Like,
this man right here
man.
need-
to shoot your shows.
It's
Hell
really,
yeah.
and then you
it's-
get some crisp photos of yourself
Yeah.
where you can be like, damn, bro, I
Yeah.
look good.
Hell yeah.
Because I get stuck in a stalemate with content that I'm able to put up, especially ones that are starting to meet this like higher and higher standard that I'm like incidentally setting for myself as like I am starting to value more of what my presence is on social media. And I'll get to the point where like, fuck, I have literally used everything that's like in my catalog. Like
Yeah.
I can't post like anything a second time, like
Yeah.
incidentally. So I definitely need
So
more
it's
of
like-
it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
And
Like,
then
it's like, oh, I got to book myself to enough shows to
Where
where
I
I
get
can
the
have
content.
to get the
So-
content
chicken
Yeah.
and egg, straight up.
Right.
to market myself some more, but like having the right amount of time between shows, because if you do too many shows and people are like, oh, it's too much.
Oversaturated.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're way oversaturated. But then you wait too long and people are like,
You're still doing that?
You're still,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
the last
Shit,
time you,
okay.
I don't
I didn't
remember the
know
last
you
time
were
you played.
DJing.
But
Yeah.
then, trying to find that right point in that Goldilocks situation, but also just like when you do put out content, it has to be to the standard that you now have currently set,
Right.
right? Because, sure, it could be artistic to have like grainy photos of yourself DJing somewhere. But then at a certain point in your DJing career, you got to hire someone to make you look fucking good,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
right?
The amount that's like archived on my social media, just because, like once a quarter, maybe at least once or twice a year, I'll go in and be like, archive doesn't meet standards, even if like the timeline gets fucked up. At
Yeah.
least like the content has continuity and it like meets expectations at first look, even if like the backline of it is just like incidental promo at the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first thing you see, and you just, while you're scrolling through the page, that's what you want to,
Right. Because
what
like
you expect, right?
Because like with me personally, like the way that I kind of took everything was like I've never had another Instagram. I've had the same Instagram since I was in high school. So like I genuinely fucking like my marketing thing is like my story, So you can go all the way down and be like, oh shit, he was at Odd Future. Oh shit, he was at Rock the Bell. Oh shit,
That's That's
and
something.
and like with you being a photographer and an art and a DJ, you kind of have to have two separate Instagrams. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
I mean, you like kind of have to, you know?
Kind of.
Like so like how do you one man it like how do you not over prioritize one versus the other? Because I mean, I'm sure you probably get paid more for being as a photographer, but you are now aspiring to, you know, be the DJ.
Yeah, so first and foremost, like at my core, I'm like a photographer. That's just like my niche, right? And I focus on like events and DJs and shows and stuff like that, right? So, and as time went on, yeah, I wanted to learn how to DJ and stuff, and then it just that's where my main focus will be at the end of the day, right? You know, so say I open for Halcyon, right, and then after my set, I grab my camera and just start taking photos.
Right.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Do you plan to separate your social media? Like have your like DJ like
I don't-
information separate?
I don't plan on it, but I have 3 Instagrams.
Okay.
I have 3. I have my main Vleexxz, which is like my photo stuff. I have my Kodachrome now that I just made.
For the techno.
No. For
Oh.
my stills, my Polaroids and my film. So
Specific.
the ones that like Foolie and all them posted it.
Right.
And then I have my actual DJ Instagram that has shit on it. My techno DJ name is Progress Error. Since I work in IT and stuff, I was like fixing a computer, and then one of the errors said Progress Error, so I just started running with that. So my whole like niche behind that is, you know, being in a computer, you know, digital techno stuff.
Yeah.
What was
You
the
know what I'm
original
saying?
error? Is it 408? 408? Is 408 the original error when there's just like a stop in runtime or whatever?
I think so.
404? 404.
And then that leads me into like wanting to learn how to produce techno and stuff like that. So then I'll start doing that, and it's but for now at least, you know, if I ever DJ again, I'm probably not gonna like, you know, post it, you know, make another Vleexxz 2.0 just for DJing, because that's been my name for everything.
Right.
All my friends call me that. Like everybody calls me that. Sometimes this guy calls me that.
Yeah.
So all my close friends, at least. So that's just who I am and what I stand for. But at my core, I'm just a shooter. So.
And then so like kind of just to wrap this up a little bit, give me one thing that has kind of surprised you about yourself throughout this journey. Like it could be the mental strength, or it could be the fact that you even got these opportunities, you know. But like just give me one example of you being like, oh shit, I'm fucking doing this, you know.
At least for me, the big changeover that like surprised me the most was the ability to like, I mean this in the best way possible, is like to see the worst in people that only mean the worst. You know what I mean? And to let go of those like toxic relationships. I'm a huge people pleaser. I've actually been called soft, like as a manager at like my main job. But the thing is like with the community, not everyone there has good intentions, and I've grown enough finally to lean only towards the people that are, you know, going to not necessarily always reciprocate, you know, the positivity that you put
Right.
forward, but at least, you know, not try and hold you down or like be detrimental to the progress and growth that you're trying to make in yourself.
Yeah.
And the people that you're also trying to support, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that was the biggest thing that incidentally surprised me, and I think it's like really paid off for the better, and it feels good to like release that weight. So, and I expect that to continue going into this year. But
Hell yeah.
big moves.
Yeah. That just comes from like self.
That's the self-care.
Yeah, the
And
self-care.
That's a very small portion of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but yeah, like it's just like you gotta quit dropping anchors. You know, let the anchors be there. So
Right.
I need sales, man.
And
Sail.
also just like
sail.
building off of that too, right? It's also, I think, what surprised me the most, like this whole last year, was like my mental fortitude, right? Fucking so many times where I've like hit like almost rock bottom this year, multiple times where like this guy's seen me like pretty low, right? And I've like being able to like pick myself up again over and over and over and be like, no, like I cannot let all my fucking work and effort that I put in this year amount to absolutely fucking nothing.
Right.
Like if I'm gonna eat shit, I'm gonna eat shit and then come out of the year looking golden.
Right.
Right. And building off something where I can like go towards next year and be like, look back at the year and be like, damn,
You did that.
Yeah.
I
Fall
did
hard,
this.
get back back up even harder.
I will fall hard, but I will get back up every single time. Like fall 6 times, get up 7.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
this is where I am
Big
now.
league, big
Right.
league.
So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then anything that you're proud of yourself for?
What the fuck I'm able to create. When I take all these photos and videos and somebody wants a recap, I don't know what I'm gonna do until I sit down at my computer
Right.
and make the goddamn recap. For like a good example is for Gordo that came last year to the
At
Mint.
the Mint? Yeah.
Martin, I thought Martin was gonna shoot that with me. I call him up. Oh, I'm by SFO. What time are you gonna be there? Bro, I'm in LA. I'm with like Martin Inkin right now, and I'm at at a club down here.
Yeah.
You got this, baby. Hangs up.
Damn.
Hangs up, right? So I'm like, fuck. And this
Damn.
and I'm not only taking photos of, all day, all night events. It's for audio, it's for Peter, the owner. Jeff. All them dials, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm doing photo and video for that whole thing, and then I decided to make a recap, and my recap did more numbers than Gordo's whole media team.
Damn.
And
Damn.
like, no,
Number one Hispanic DJ
Sorry, can
in
you
the
just,
world.
no
That's
offense
his
to
shoulder
like,
off there
Yeah,
for me.
no
I think there's
offense.
a little something on it. There you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
Hey.
no offense to Gordo or anything. I love his music, but I was just sitting there making it, and I didn't think it was gonna be that good. And then I posted it. I tagged All Day All Night. I tagged Dials. I tagged Peter. Peter texted me. He's like, "Yo, send me this shit now.
Yeah.
Put this in a Dropbox and send this to me." Sent it to him. He fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Right, and that edit took me like 2 hours or 3 hours to make. I had my drone, all the video that I took, all the Keep in mind, like for All Day All Night events, not including like the artist DJs, like Gordo's team and then Chase West's team, it was just me doing the whole damn thing.
Damn.
So I was actually surprised at myself for what I was able to create out of that. So that just leads me to like, what am I able to do this year that I can just pull out of my ass?
Yeah.
Because I know, me and him were talking about it. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't like when I take video or photo and I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, fuck. And then like, oh no, I'm sorry. When I take photo video, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. But when I sit down at my computer and start editing, all of a sudden I have ADHD, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is gonna go here. This is gonna go here. So I start articulating it and building it as it goes.
Yeah.
So.
Damn. That's tight as fuck. Honestly, I want to have a individual podcast with all you guys eventually. But no, this was fucking awesome, and I appreciate you guys, for coming by. Some of us are more local, but
Thanks for having us.
but yeah, no. Thank you guys for driving down and everything. And then like before we head out, do you guys want to like shout out your socials, any links, blah blah blah, upcoming events, any of that jazz?
You more or less can find everything that we're associated with under Very Good Beat Club, which is just at Very Good Beat Club on all social media platforms. We also have, streaming media, SoundCloud, all that good stuff, and that will point you in the direction of Thomas Machina. It'll have you with, Fabian Coronado, Avery. It'll have me. It'll have the Don Zvanta project, and then you get a little bit more insight on all the community forward endeavors and events that we have coming up. So tune in, tune up, turn down.
yeah. And then my next solo will be also solo with. Well, we might go back to back.
might go back to back.
Yeah.
Damn.
But for our birthday weekends, it should be fun. That will be announced sometime next month. Stay tuned for that.
Hell yeah.
Right.
And then where are the people going to see you? Where
Oh, man.
I feel like you're going to be running around at all the clubs,
I'm fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
You see me at all the clubs in SF. Mostly on Instagram at Vleexxz, VLEEXXZ, basically Alex with a V. I'm always there. Everybody's probably gonna watch this already follows me, so I don't really post on Twitter, so I'm mostly on Instagram. Go like my photos. If you like it, let me know. We can work. But yeah, I mean, that's it.
Hell yeah. And then as far as me, you can find Meraki doing some dope shit in the next upcoming months. We have some things cooking. We're gonna probably start playing with different sounds and yeah, different venues. So that's gonna be fun. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have a mini tour going. So you can catch us from San Jose all the way to Sacramento. So stay tuned for that. And then, yeah, you can catch me at George.Daniel __ on most platforms. And you can get all your information for the Meraki events on Meraki Bay Area or Meraki.Bay Area. And go follow our sister flagship out in Sac with Lex. Lex me up on Instagram.
Shout out.
And Meraki Sac on Instagram. So go check them out. They're doing major shit. It's an all-female crew. So that's fucking awesome. And yeah. One last shout out to our very special sponsor, Liquid Death.
I drink like 4. I'm sorry.
Dude, you're good.
Dude, that's why you use the bathroom so many
I had to
goddamn
pee so
times.
much.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm glad that they're here.
I'm like just realizing there was a sparkling one, and I'm kind of like sad I didn't get it.
Oh, well, here.
Take one for the road. But shout out to the LD fam. Lance, send us another care package. I appreciate you. You can get them at www.liquiddeath.com. But outside of that, peace.
Oh, empties. I'm like, Thanks, guys.